politicized. There are still people out there willing to do crazy things over and over again and make up new crazy things.
And pay their lawyers.
And pay their lawyers. I was saying, your job will never end. Good stuff, Jeremy. As always, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Billy Mays here with the brand new Keeler Kill Switch. When that morning show starts yapping about something you can't stand, don't reach for the dial. Just press this big red button and BAM!
This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, it's a Monday morning. First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX. It is 6:31. It's Manaski and Uncle Smitty here this morning, and we do have a busy program coming up. For some reason, this isn't working. I guess we'll get to that coming up in a second here. Oh, wait, there we go. All right, so a couple of things. Smitty, I didn't get your take on Jerry McNamara and the Syracuse Orange.
I like it.
I know that was your pick, right?
Yes, it was. It's been my pick ever since the rumors Adrian Autry was going to get canned during the season. That was my number one, and my number one wish was to bring GMAC back. But it's a good move for Syracuse because I think he's going to bring in some NIL money, and I think he's going to be bringing this Doty with him from originally from Fulton to Syracuse.
So it's not official yet. Syracuse officials are working to finalize the deal, but it's only a matter of time, essentially, until they hash out a contract. We'll talk more about that coming up this morning. You can share your comments or your thoughts as well. We go to the phone lines where Fox News Radio's Jonathan Savage is. We're getting an update with the latest on Iran, what has happened over the weekend. I know we have a threat from President Trump that if the strait was not opened within 48 hours, he was going to target power plants in Iran. Good morning, Jonathan.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, so the president making that threat over the weekend, giving a 48-hour time frame. What's the latest on the strait?
Yeah, that 48-hour deadline expires 7:45 p.m. Eastern tonight, and Iran has shown no indication that they are willing to open the Strait of Hormuz. The country's defense council today saying the only way to pass through Hormuz Strait is for non-belligerent states to coordinate with Iran, and so far not that many are doing so. From over 100 ships a day passing in peacetime, we're seeing 5 or 6 a day passing at the moment. So very significant drop-off. That's why we're seeing energy prices spiking around the world, stock markets falling, and a real risk of an energy shock globally. President Trump, speaking of energy shocks, is warning the United States will obliterate Iran's power grid if the Strait of Hormuz does not fully reopen. In return, Iran is threatening to target electrical supplies in nearby Gulf states. So great concern in those countries, especially those which still rely on desalination plants, which of course need electricity in order to get safe, clean drinking water. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the past 48 hours have proved Iran must be stopped. He's calling on the international community to join the US and Israel in action against the Iranians.
I see here, was it the IEA warned Monday the energy crisis was worse than the oil shocks in the 1970s. You mentioned that. How bad was it in the 70s, and how bad do we think it could get now?
So what we were hearing from the IEA's Fatih Birol is that in the past, the worst impact to the daily supply of global oil was about 10 million barrels a day, and now we're already at 11 million barrels a day. That's why he's saying it's worse than the 1970s oil shocks combined. That is partly why we're seeing WTI oil approaching $100 a barrel. That's the standard in the United States, and Brent crude $113 a barrel, which is the standard in much of the rest of the world. Stock markets are falling across Asia. A lot of countries very concerned right now about the impact of this. Just hearing from the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he's trying to enact some emergency measures to make sure that India has enough petroleum and enough fertilizers. And here in the UK, the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has been chairing an emergency meeting called the Cobra Committee, and that is to try and find ways to help ordinary British people deal with the possibility of rising prices over the course of this year.
Yeah, and as we know, everything is so reliant on the price of gas. I mean, everything that's transported anytime we see what we're seeing now with gas prices going up, it has an impact on every other commodity in the market. So, Fox News Radio's Jonathan Savage, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right now, as of this morning, $99.24 crude oil futures. That's what it's trading at right now. And I don't have the average gas price right now, but I've seen anywhere from $3.89 to I think I saw $3.64 was the cheapest I saw over the weekend. So obviously gas prices are up, 60, 70 cents locally, and it's going to continue that way and trending upward unless there's some type of resolution to the situation, specifically with the Strait of Hormuz. Here is kind of a recap of what some of the media outlets are reporting. First, we'll go to CNN here. As I mentioned, the IEA warned on Monday that the energy crisis was worse than the oil shocks in the 1970s. Iran vowing retaliation if U.S. President Donald Trump followed through on his Saturday threat to attack power plants if the Strait of Hormuz was not reopened within 48 hours. Iran also warned it would deploy mines around the entire Persian Gulf if its coasts or islands are attacked, state media reported on Monday. And the number of people reported killed in Iran and Lebanon since the start of the conflict is now in the thousands. Attacks across the region continued this morning, with Iranian state media reporting strikes in Tehran. Saudi Arabia said it intercepted 2 ballistic missiles heading toward the capital of Riyadh. All right, now bear with me here. I'm losing some of this later. Okay. This is from the Associated Press. This is a criticism, I guess, of what's going on with the Strait and how it was not anticipated. At war with Iran, President Donald Trump is cycling through an increasingly desperate list of options as he searches for a solution to the crisis in the Strait of Hormuz. He has jumped from calls to secure the waterway through diplomatic means to lifting sanctions and now escalating with a direct threat against civilian infrastructure in the Islamic Republic. Trump and his allies insist they were always prepared for Iran to block the strait, yet the Republican president's erratic strategy, has fueled criticism that he's grasping for answers after going to war without a clear exit plan. On Saturday, his latest attempt, an ultimatum to Iran: open the strait within 48 hours or we will obliterate the country's power plants. Trump's aides defended the threat as a hard-edged tactic to press Iran into submission. Opponents framed it as failure for a president who miscalculated what it would take to get out of a geopolitical mire. Trump has no plan to reopen the strait, so he's threatened to attack Iran's civil power plants. That's Senator Ed Markey from Massachusetts. He says this would be a war crime if Trump were to do that. Over the course of about a week, Trump has repeatedly shifted his approach on the crucial waterway for global oil and gas transport. There's growing urgency for Trump as soaring oil prices rattle global markets and pinch American consumers months before the pivotal midterm elections. Now, here was Fox's take on it. Missiles were inbound over Tel Aviv during a live Fox News report on Sunday, as air raid sirens blared across the city and Israeli air defenses scrambled to intercept incoming threats from Iran. We should start hearing the sirens in about 2 minutes from now, Fox News correspondent Mike Tobin said from Tel Aviv, moments before alarms began sounding. Everything from the north to the south of Tel Aviv is under watch right now. Seconds later, sirens wailed across the city as Tobin described missiles approaching from the east, prompting residents to rush into bomb shelters. That's the sound of the sirens going off. That means that the missiles are inbound. Obviously, a very sketchy situation if you're out there. I couldn't imagine being a reporter on the scene there with literally stuff blowing up and exploding over your head. I couldn't believe I was watching this video. I don't know if it was Friday or earlier in the week, but it's a group of men and women in Israel. And I don't know specifically if they were in Tehran or, Tel Aviv, but they're like out on the porch, like out on the deck in an apartment building. And I don't know, they're on the 4th or 5th floor. And they're just kind of sitting there, and I don't know if they're drinking alcohol or if someone's just drinking a bottle of water, but you just hear this, and this missile goes shooting by in the sky, and then they're looking, right, and they've got their little phone camera zooming in on this missile that's soaring through the air, and then you see one of the Israeli interceptor missiles come up, and there's an explosion in the sky. You can see them kind of, one's going across the sky, and this interceptor cuts across, and it blows it up. And it's not far from these people. I mean, it's not 10 feet away. It's, maybe 2 miles away. But there's all this debris in the sky that explodes. I just couldn't imagine living through that. In wartime, in a war zone. And then meanwhile over here, I think we are mostly unimpacted by what's going on other than paying higher gas prices. And if you know someone or have a loved one who's serving overseas, certainly you have concerns for them. But otherwise, we're largely unaffected by this other than the gas prices and the fact that the cost of everything will also go up. But to see what some people are dealing with on a daily basis, it is extremely scary. Smitty, we're going to dip into sports here for a minute. Were you at the Adirondack Bank Center on Saturday?
No, I wasn't. I was keeping tabs on it, though. Unfortunately, the season ended for the Utica University Pioneers. They lost to Wisconsin Stout 5-1.
Yeah. I had a chance to go to the game. I didn't feel great. My son ended up going. Obviously, he was disappointed, but 5-1 was the final there. And then there was a bit of a mix-up in the aftermath of that game.
Oh, no.
Because somebody sent me a screenshot, and they said, Hamilton went to overtime. And I said, oh, and then they sent me a screenshot, which the update on this particular website had it inverted. It had Norwich winning 2-1 in overtime.
Yeah.
So my first impression Saturday night was that both local teams got knocked out. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Hamilton does advance. They're now on to the Frozen Four, which will be coming up with games, Friday, then Sunday?
Two games on Friday, the championship on Sunday.
It's interesting that they put a whole week in between these quarterfinal games and these semifinal games, but when you go from the semis to the championship, it's 2 games in 3 days. I do find that interesting. But the Frozen Four tournament happening at the Adirondack Bank Center in Utica. Games Friday, 3 o'clock. It's Hamilton against Aurora. And then Hobart, still undefeated. They'll take on Wisconsin Stout Friday night at around 7 o'clock. I guess depending on once they get everybody shuffled off the field from the previous game. Jackson Croc had the game winner in overtime, 2:44 into overtime, assisted by Luke Core. 2-1 the final for Hamilton. That's got to be exciting for them, a Frozen Four appearance, and they are now 21-5-2 on the season.
And they don't have to travel far either.
No, absolutely not, just to go to downtown Utica. Look, obviously disappointing for the Pioneers to have the Frozen Four tournament in their home arena, and unfortunately they came up just 1 game short. Some high school action over the weekend. Notre Dame girls basketball, which it shocks me. They're in Class A. If I read that correctly, I just didn't think that was correct.
And Miss Trinkus became the all-time leading scorer in Section 3.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes.
In all of Section 3?
Yes.
I saw she had 19 points in the state championship game. Unfortunately, though, Utica Notre Dame came up short. It was their first loss of the season. They lose to Tappan Zee 54-48 on Sunday in the state title game. So a great season. This after they beat Our Lady of Mercy 62-44 to advance to the title game over the weekend. So disappointment there. An outstanding season for the Lady Jugglers, but they were knocked off in the state championship game. Cooperstown boys basketball, though, they picked up a state championship over the weekend. 52-43 was the final I'm not going to say this right. Bern Knox Westerlo was their opponent on Sunday. A perfect season for Cooperstown as well, their first state title since 2019. So you had the Notre Dame girls looking for a perfect season as well. Unfortunately, they came up short. But do you have the total points? Do you know how many points she scored over the course of her career? That's incredible.
It was like over 2,000 points.
Yeah, that's incredible. And a great season. Hats off to them. Unfortunately, a little bit of disappointment there. So we got Jerry McNamara going to the Orange, and then Major League Baseball officially begins later this week for the Yankees. That'll be coming up on Wednesday night, and the Mets on Thursday. Yeah, what's up, buddy?
So I had to laugh. I was out at a local establishment yesterday when I got the text from multiple people about GMAC. So Stefan texts me and says, "Is it true that GMAC's coming to Syracuse?" I said, "Yeah, they're working on it. Let me check with my Syracuse connections in the media out there, and I'll get back to you."
That's so funny because he messaged me the same thing. I didn't talk to him on the phone, but he sent me a message.
I didn't talk to
similar.
him, but he sent me a message through message.
It was virtually the same thing, that the Orange were trying to get Jerry McNamara. I said, "Wow, that's great." And he said, "It's not been confirmed yet. I'm going to reach out to my my contacts in the media in Syracuse, and I'll get back to you and let you know if it's going to happen or not." Obviously, very exciting. McNamara was, a fan favorite, certainly when he was there, being an undersized guy, a guy who always went above and beyond, always seemed to be hustling as fast as he could on the court. And obviously, he's had a great three-pointer. So,
well, they're going to give him NIL money. They're going to be in the upper tier of the ACC now. So, hopefully, maybe we'll bring this Mr. Wiseman back that was supporting him in Siena. Maybe he'll come up and be part of the Syracuse family again.
That'd be interesting. I don't know. I think his beef was more with the...
His beef was with the outgoing AD, John Wildhack.
Oh, it was? Okay, I thought it was with the school administration more so.
Well, and Ken Silveru, the chancellor, but both are leaving, so it's a whole new regime up there at Syracuse.
Yeah.
New chancellor who worked for Syracuse was the right-hand man under Ken Silveru for 12 years, and then the new AD coming from Toledo. So maybe they'll hatch things up.
Hatch things up?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but we'll take a quick time out.
My brother-in-law just texted in. Ask Dave what it means for Dominguez and Cabrera being pushed down to AAA. Will they be brought back up?
Go ahead. What's your take?
Well, Jason Dominguez wasn't going to be playing because they re-signed Clay Bellinger. And Oswaldo Cabrera, he needs to, after that horrible ankle break, gruesome injury, he deserves some time down AAA. But I think Jason Dominguez will be back up probably mid-season.
Well, he's a pretty good hitter, right? It's just he's not a great fielder.
Yeah, he's going to ride the bench because we re-signed Trent Grisham. They got Bellinger. But I agree with Cabrera being sent down to Scranton. You're talking about the ankle injury, gruesome ankle injury. He needs to get some work in the field. So I think Dominguez will be back up probably mid-season. I don't know about Cabrera. Unless the shortstop position, Volpe and the guy we got from Tampa Bay kind of falters, you might see Cabrera back up.
All right, we'll take a quick time out and come back with more. It is a Monday morning, and we've officially made it to spring, but obviously it's going to be a little slow going to get us there. We'll check back in with your forecast and give you an update as well. That's all coming up. First News, Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
Don't rely on a standard off-the-shelf security system. When it comes to protecting your home, there's a big difference between plug and play and a professionally designed system. At CML Security, security is personal. Their skilled technicians meet with you one-on-one, walk your property, and design a custom system built around your family's needs. From security cameras, intrusion systems, and smart home features, they can also add a level of fire protection to their intrusion systems. They install commercial-grade equipment and provide a warranty warranty on systems that they install. Call CML Security at 315-866-5845 today to schedule your in-home consultation. That's 315-866-5845 or visit cmlsecurity.net. Based in Herkimer, they serve the central New York area. CML Security. Call 315-866-5845. Personalized protection your family can trust.
Attention patriotic Americans. To honor the 250th anniversary of American independence, the United States Mint is striking a groundbreaking American Silver Eagle coin. The 1776 to 2026 W American Silver Eagle is the first dual-dated coin in this series' history. Its inspiring dual date pays tribute to our nation's founding fathers, the Declaration of Independence in 1776, and the spirit of the American Revolution that lives on today in 2026. Now is your chance to get this first of its kind dual-dated American Silver Eagle in perfect proof 70 Ultra Cameo condition, like nothing collectors have ever seen. But hurry, pre-sale slots are limited. With mintage of just 500,000 coins, this release is a true absolute rarity. Secure your 250th anniversary Silver Eagle now with Rare Collectibles TV exclusive pre-sale. Call 800-925-1544 now before they sell out. That's 800-925-1544. 800-925-1544.
We're your neighbors, friends, and your family. We care about our community, your business, and most important, you.
We support charities like the United Way, McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center, rather members of IBW Local 43 and NECA Contractors. You don't just see our work, you live it. From the JMA Wireless Dome, hospitals, schools, and city buildings, the IBEW is part of the community.
Central New York's future is bright, and the IBEW Local 43 and NECA will continue to help light, power, and grow Central New York.
Hello, Utica. This is Carrie Paleo from the Greater Utica Chamber of Commerce. We're thrilled to introduce some of the newest members of our business network. Let's give them a true Utica welcome and show what it means to be part of this incredible community.
Visit Sangertown Square's newest business, Fun Nation, a huge indoor adventure park packed with wall-to-wall attractions, and Urban Planet, a bold, trend-focused fashion brand offering affordable style for men, women, and teens.
By supporting the local economy, we'll keep building the future of Utica together. Greater Utica Chamber, empowering upstate New York.
That cooler air continuing to spill in now. There's been some drizzle and flurries, even some spotty freezing drizzle this morning. So just a heads up for some slick spots. Weather Service has a statement out on that. A lot of clouds around, some limited sun and chilly today in the upper 30s. Tonight will clear at 22, teens North Country. Tuesday, sunshine 40, some rain showers near 50 on Wednesday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
We're back. First News Keeler in the morning. It's 6:53, a Monday morning here. I hesitate to do this, but I want to put my toe in the water here on this Mark Wayne Mullen. He's one step closer to joining the Trump administration as the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. Did you see his back and forth regarding legal dueling with Rand Paul?
Yeah, I did.
How foolish. It's embarrassing.
Rand Paul always has a comedy fest during these confirmation hearings.
Well, he's usually embarrassing Democrats is usually what he's doing, but he took the opportunity to kind of make Senator Mark Wayne Mullen look a little bit foolish. So essentially, Mullen was saying, I have to go back and look at the question that led up to this, that it was still legal to duel in the United States, so that, Smitty, if you and I had a dispute, we could walk out in the parking lot or out in the back here on the grassy knoll, and you'd have your gun on your hip, and I'd have my gun on my hip. And
see who draws the fastest?
I don't get it. On a sadder note, today's show, Hanker Savannah Guthrie is pleading for the Tucson, Arizona community to give renewed attention on the case of her missing mother, Nancy Guthrie, In a statement on her Instagram account, Savannah wrote, "Someone knows something. It's possible a member of this community has information that they do not even realize is significant. There are no clear suspects nor strong leads more than a month after the investigation into Nancy's kidnapping launched on February 1st. I hate to say this, and if I was in her situation, I would never give up hope unless I found out otherwise, but I can't imagine that this is a situation where they recover her mother alive. It's been over a month, and the kidnappers are no longer making efforts to communicate or to get ransom money. And obviously there's a situation with the medications.
She was on a pacemaker, too, for heart, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a sad situation. I understand what the ask is, but where she says, someone knows something and it's possible that a member of this community has information that they don't even realize is significant. Well, how would they go about then submitting that? I mean, you don't want to flood the tip centers with BS, frankly, with non-relevant information. But it's obviously an act of desperation and trying to make sure that, you've gone over and overturned every stone. Just a really devastating situation. And she is right in that somebody out there knows something and they're not spilling it. So I wonder if we'll ever find out who was responsible for this. But it's obviously a terrible situation for Savannah Guthrie. And, Bill and I briefly discussed this before. And, he kind of said it was speculation. And it certainly is just speculation. But whether or not she would make a return to the Today Show.
She said she's going to. She visited there a couple weeks ago, and
I did see that she visited. I don't know, because she's on this break, and it was caused by the situation with her mother being kidnapped. I almost feel like at whatever point, any point that she goes back, it's almost an admission that mom's never coming home. And while that's likely the reality, having to face that, admit that, or kind of accept that has got to be devastating. I would, obviously nobody ever wants to be in a situation like that. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Well, but thoughts and prayers go out to her and her family, and I hope they do find some kind of information.
Well, she was out on medical leave because she had surgery on her voice, so she hasn't been back since this, before her mother disappeared, and unfortunately, the circumstances is not the outcome that she wanted. But Savannah had surgery out on her voice.
Switching gears, I had a friend of mine go out of town this weekend. He flew out of Syracuse. Was real concerned about TSA and having to stand in line for 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours. He walked up to the checkpoint area. He said he and his other passenger were the only people there. He said they walked up, they got through. It was the easiest thing.
Well, I had a friend.
Nobody was there.
I had a friend fly to Houston last week, and she didn't get back. She had to wait an extra day in order to get to Houston. She had that because of the TSA was so bad.
Wow. Tom Homan, the border czar, says ICE agents are going to start moving into airports and helping with security lines and checkpoints. We'll have more on that coming up at the top of the hour. Plus, speaking of airlines, this was a horrible situation. There was an accident at LaGuardia last night involving an Air Canada jet. 72 passengers, 4 crew members on board. Last I heard, 2 of the crew members,
the pilots,
were deceased. Some with serious injuries here, 41 hospitalized, some of them with serious injuries. But this is a horrible situation as well, and we will get an update coming up in about 30 seconds here from Fox News. It is 6:59. Coming up next hour, we'll talk with Samantha Claus-Motesta, the latest on the budget, plus Dan Fusco, Republican candidate for Assembly in WIBX Utica Road,
From the WB Payne Insurance Studios, your news talk leader since 1925. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now the latest from Fox News.
This is a Fox News alert. A deadly crash has closed a major New York City airport. I'm Dave Anthony. It happened at LaGuardia just before midnight when an Air Canada Express flight from Montreal collided with a fire truck right after landing.
We stopped really quickly, and then in about 2 seconds later, we just had an absolute, slam. Everybody was flying everywhere. I mean, the plane started veering off left and right.
The truck got clearance to cross the runway, but then, as heard on liveatc.net.
Stop, truck one, stop. Stop, truck one, stop. Stop, truck one, stop.
But it was too late.
We know 2 pilots were killed in this collision.
Fox's CB Cotton at LaGuardia.
The fire truck was responding to a separate issue. The 2 people in the fire truck are expected to be okay. The Port Authority says as of right now, a total of 41 passengers and crew members were taken to the hospital and 32 people were released.
LaGuardia is closed in New York until this afternoon, and that has canceled more than 500 flights to and from there, adding to an air travel problem getting worse with hours-long security lines at some airports as TSA agents keep working without pay in a Homeland Security funding showdown in Congress. Some aren't showing up. And as Democrats keep demanding immigration enforcement reform to fund DHS, they do not like this new plan. Starting today, ICE agents being deployed to help at some airports.
Borders' Tom Homan says ICE agents will be at the airports where the wait times are the longest. He indicates that their roles could be pretty limited, helping TSA workers at terminal exits and entries. TSA staff can then focus on the duties that do require specialized training, like X-ray screening.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera. President Trump's countdown for Iran to stop blocking oil shipping ends tonight, or else the president says the U.S. would attack energy facilities and power plants in Iran. Iran is threatening to retaliate and hit energy facilities in the Middle East. America's listening to Fox News.
I didn't switch to Pure Talk just because I wanted to save 50% off the same 5G service I'd been paying twice as much for. I switched because I like the idea of being in business with a wireless company that supports our veterans in a meaningful way. Pure Talk also creates American jobs every day by keeping their entire operation in this country. I appreciate that. If you feel the same, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Again, our top Fox News story, LaGuardia Airport closed in New York City till this afternoon, canceling more than 500 flights to and from there after a late-night collision. An Air Canada Express plane hit a fire truck right after landing. The 2 pilots were killed, dozens of others injured, and more now on the issue affecting even more air travelers.
As President Trump plans to send ICE agents into airports to help with travel checkpoints, U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said TSA employees have been faced with providing for their families without a regular paycheck for more than a month. On ABC's This Week, Secretary Duffy made a promise.
They're going to get paid. They're going to get paid for all the time that was missed. The problem is they're living in the today, not the tomorrow.
For those TSA agents who have been reporting to work, Secretary Duffy did not have encouraging news, saying long airport checkpoint lines will likely get worse before they get better. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
And this could make it more difficult to end that funding standoff in Congress. President Trump posted on Truth Social he doesn't want to make a deal with Democrats he calls crazy and country destroying until they join Republicans approving a voter ID bill that includes a proof of citizenship requirement. Democrats oppose that, saying the restrictions could make it difficult for millions of Americans to vote. On Wall Street, the selling may continue this morning. Dow futures are down about 400 points as oil prices rise modestly. In the NCAA men's basketball tournament, the defending champs knocked out.
And here we go. 8.9 to play. Sturts with the catch. Sturts bounce pass to the corner. Bulgaris for 3.
That ended up the game-winning shot for Iowa with about 4 seconds left, beating Florida, a number one regional seed, 73-72 on TBS. St. John's also advanced to the Sweet 16 on a buzzer-beating shot, eliminating Kansas. Also advancing with wins, Alabama, Arizona, Connecticut, Iowa State, Purdue, and Tennessee. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Cloudy skies and 31 degrees. Good morning. I'm Jeff Manaski, WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM News Time, 7:05. This news update brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica on Commercial Drive in Yorkville. A Rome man facing several charges after a traffic stop in the village of Sylvan Beach. Oneida County Sheriff's deputies conducted a traffic stop at Pioneer Ave in the village. They say they located a quantity of methamphetamine possessed by the operator of the vehicle, identified as 26-year-old Joshua Gillette of Rome. He faces felony and misdemeanor counts of criminal possession of a controlled substance, aggravated unlicensed operation in the third degree, along with several traffic violations. He was processed in the Wyman Law Enforcement Building and was being held in the Oneida County Jail pending arraignment in Cap Court. Albany International Airport is not currently slated to have ICE agents staffed there after President Trump's announcement that ICE agents would begin deploying to U.S. airports starting today. Officials say the agents will help relieve TSA officers from less critical duties. The move comes after Trump warned he would act if lawmakers failed to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Meanwhile, the partial government shutdown has left TSA workers unpaid, leading to longer airport wait times across the country. And the 13th annual Syracuse Half Marathon was a success. It's in the books now. It was Sunday with over 3,000 runners participating in the 13.1-mile race through downtown Syracuse. Runners came from all across the United States. 35% of those participating were from outside of Onondaga County. 34 states is where they came from. Over $10,000 in donations given to the Central New York Ronald McDonald House, Upstate Golisano Children's Hospital, CNY SPCA, and Meals on Wheels.
How'd you do, Jeff?
In the marathon?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Cloudy skies, 31 degrees. It is 7:07.
That cooler air continuing to spill in now. There's been some drizzle and flurries, even some spotty freezing drizzle this morning. So just a heads up for some slick spots. Weather Service has a statement out on that. A lot of clouds around, some limited sun and chilly today in the upper 30s. Tonight will clear at 22, teens North Country. Tuesday, sunshine 40, some rain showers near 50 on Wednesday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Again, cloudy and 31 at 7:08. All right, in sports, the Utica Pioneers men's hockey team unfortunately knocked out over the weekend. They do not make it to the Frozen Four. Utica losing to Wisconsin Stout, a final of 5-1. Hamilton hockey gets a win, and they advance to the Frozen Four as they won by a final of 2-1 over Norwich on Saturday. It was an overtime victory, and the game-winning goal coming from Jackson Kroc. Now, the tournament, the Frozen Four, resumes on Friday at the Adirondack Bank Center in Utica. You've got Hobart taking on Wisconsin Stout. That's the nightcap on Friday, a 7 o'clock start. Hamilton will play at 3 p.m. Friday afternoon against Aurora. And obviously the winners on Friday will play in the national championship game coming up on Sunday afternoon. That is set for a 3 o'clock start. High school basketball, Cooperstown boys win a state title and an undefeated season as well. On the girls' side, the Lady Jugglers of Utica Notre Dame unfortunately came up short. They went 25-0 all the way to the championship game. However, they lost on Sunday by a final of, I lost it here, 64-58. Smitty, I'll have you crack your mic there for the latest on the new basketball coach at Syracuse University.
There's a report out there from ESPN's Pete Thamel that Syracuse and Santa coach currently, GMAC, are working on an agreement for Jerry McNamara to become the next coach of the Syracuse Orange.
I know that's a a huge deal for a lot of Orange basketball fans. As a matter of fact, I'll read a comment here from Tim this morning, and I think he's probably spot on. He says, GMAC had quite a job interview thanks to Duke. A few positives with him coming home. He'll likely help stem the slide in dome attendance that has occurred over the past 3 to 4 years. Perhaps men's fences with Weitzman, who donated to Siena after the SU chancellor gave him the boot. A possible negative, though, by hiring in the family, you get the potential of Jimmy B still exerting some control over the team.
Yeah, I do see a little bit of that. And Boeheim and McNamara are quite close, and they do talk, as GMAC and Boeheim has said in previous interviews the week before tournament. They do talk 3-4 times a day, but not on conversation, but in text messages.
And Tim finished it up by saying, for better or worse, college basketball has dramatically changed. It's why so many old-time coaches have retired. Jim needs to let GMAC grow. So, yeah, certainly it has changed. I mean, you talk about all the NIL money. You have guys who don't even go to class anymore. It's like a job now. It's not really like they're there for an education.
Well, Syracuse's main candidate was Hopkins from University of South Florida Bulls. He was rumored to stay at USF, but he ended up going to Providence. That was confirmed yesterday. So he is the new Providence Friars coach.
Major League Baseball begins this weekend.
Wednesday.
This weekend. Yeah, Wednesday night for the Yankees and Thursday for the Mets. Who are the Yankees playing?
San Francisco. And then they
interleague play to start?
That's what it says, San Francisco, and then they go to Seattle.
Okay, well, so they get a West Coast trip out of the way early.
Here's the Yankee schedule, which is kind of odd, Jeff. Wednesday, off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, no game on Sunday, Monday, Seattle.
Yeah, it's weird at the beginning of the year how the schedule shakes out because there's usually one day, an off day, then you maybe have a brief series. Yeah, it's
and the season comes up for the Syracuse Mets starting this week, too.
As a matter of fact, we'll talk with the Syracuse Mets coming up later this hour. It is 7:13. First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
These are uncertain times. Ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East and beyond continue to shake global markets, driving up energy costs and creating widespread volatility. Gold has responded as history shows it does, climbing to new highs as a proven safe haven against inflation and unrest. Silver follows strong, offering even more protection for diversified portfolios. Call True Gold Republic at 800-300-GOLD for your free guide on protecting your retirement. If you're 55 or older, approaching or enjoying retirement and have significant savings, you understand why stability matters now more than ever. Paper assets can vanish in a crisis, but precious metals have endured for generations. True Gold Republic helps Americans like you protect what you've built with real gold and silver IRAs. Call 800-300-GOLD for your free wealth protection guide today. No obligation, just information. Consult your tax professional before investing. Call 800-300-4653. That's 800-300-GOLD.
Utica and the Mohawk Valley, do not overpay for your next mattress. Mattress Express is upstate New York's largest specialty bedding retailer. Take advantage of our guaranteed lowest price program. Bring in any locally advertised price or quote on a brand we carry. We will beat the price. Furthermore, if within 90 days of purchase you see that mattress advertised for less, bring it to our attention. We will refund the difference. Selection, no one in New York State has all these brands under one roof except Mattress Express. Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh & Lavish, Therapeutic, Simmons Beauty Rest Black, Serta Eye Comfort, Avocado, and more. On New Hartford and Commercial Drive next to Pet Supplies Plus. In Oneida and the Glenwood Plaza by the movie theaters. And Rome on Black River Boulevard. Open 7 days a week. Go to MattressExpressNY.com. Call 1-800-NEW-BEDS.
The deals are exploding at Steed Pawnee Chevrolet in Herkimer. And if you've been thinking about upgrading your ride, now's the moment to move. For a limited time, we're offering supplier pricing for all on the powerful 2026 Chevy Silverado half-ton lineup. That's serious savings on one of America's toughest trucks. Take the 2026 Silverado Crew Cab RST four-wheel drive and save over $8,000 on a truck built to work hard and look great. Looking for something versatile? Lease a brand new 2026 Chevy Equinox LT all-wheel drive for just $329 a month for 36 months with 10,000 miles per year. Don't wait. These offers end March 31st. Silverado offer requires a 2012 or newer Chevrolet in the household. Equinox lease requires a current lease in the household, $3,000 down plus first payment, all taxes and fees due at delivery. Customer must qualify for top-tier credit through GM Financial. See salesperson for details. Stop in and see why it's always easy to do business at Steed Pawnee Chevrolet. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Ready for your next adventure? Discover a whole new world beneath the surface with Seize the Day Scuba. Seize the Day Scuba makes it easy to become a certified scuba diver, even if you've never tried it before. Their experienced instructors guide you step by step with fun, safe, and professional training designed for beginners. Call Seize the Day Scuba in Yorkville today at 315-794-7787 or go to seizethedayscuba.net and start your scuba certification. Seize the Day Scuba. Don't just visit the ocean, explore it.
Embarrassed by ugly yellow toe fungus?
Living with toe fungus it's embarrassing. I was afraid to take my socks off. I hid my yellow and crumbly toes from everybody.
Introducing Crystal Flush. Crystal Flush is the only FDA-registered 2-in-1 home treatment that attacks your toe fungus from both the inside and out. Crystal Flush's new and different combination system knocks out toe fungus for good. Guaranteed.
Crystal Flush is different. After just a few weeks, my fungus was gone. 100% disappeared. Crystal Flush was the only thing that ever worked. So if you're skeptical because you tried a bunch of other stuff, Crystal Flush is different. This is a game changer.
Crystal Flush is now available without a prescription, but it is not available in stores. Get your risk-free supply today. Go to crystalflush.com. That's CRYSTAL flush.com. Stop being embarrassed by ugly yellow toenails. Go to crystalflush.com or call 800-204-4484.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Start your mornings with sharp insight and straight talk from me, Brian Kilmeade. Weekdays right after Keeler in the morning. Don't miss the Brian Kilmeade Show, breaking down the biggest stories in politics, business, and culture with the voices shaping the headlines. From Washington power players to everyday Americans, we ask the questions you want answered. Miss it during the week? Catch the weekend edition Saturday morning at 7. The Brian Kilmeade Show right after Keeler on WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Celebrating 100 years. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, first news, Keeler in the morning on WIBX. We are spinning. Are we live on YouTube this morning? We are live on YouTube this morning, and I'll go check out some of the comments there. We're scheduled to be joined by Samantha Colosimo-Testa coming up in just a few minutes to talk about the City of Utica budget, which was passed late last week. Now, there's still an opportunity to for Mayor Galimi to veto the budget or parts of it, I guess amendments to it. And I think he has until Wednesday to do that, and then the council could override those vetoes we'll talk to Samantha not only about the budget in general, but I believe she voted against one part in particular. Samantha voted against the budget, but there was one part in particular that had to do with transferring funding for paving. We'll get her thoughts on that as well coming up. She's scheduled to join us in about 10 minutes. If you have a comment on the budget in Utica, you can do so at 315-736-0186. Send us a message via the WIBX 950 mobile app, or you can do that on YouTube. All right, Nick, good morning, guys. Is it official? Jerry McNamara, Syracuse Mets basketball coach. It is not official, but it will be probably by the end of the day. Are these guys going to the minor leagues? Put Judge on first, Jones in center. What's your take on that? Judge at first, Jones in center.
No.
No?
They're talking about Spencer Jones.
The Dodgers are the team to beat. They have it all together now. That's what Ja Wick says. Yeah, the Dodgers do have a great lineup. Jeff, does softball and hardball have the same rules for umpires to follow? No, actually, there are some differences. What they are, I could not name them to you. I know they are. They're different classes, obviously different instructors, and I know there are some rules variations, but I do not know what they are. Dodgers have the best players from Japan. They pay up. Us Yanks get their sloppy seconds. That's from Jawick as well. Where's Davey today? He's right there. Bill's out. Baseball in Cuse this early. Bundle up. Yeah, no, that's true. You're going to see that in New York City as well with the Mets and Yankees. We're going to have
the Yankees are on the West Coast. The Mets are on the East Coast.
Even when they get back, it's still going to be cold. I mean, we don't get to 70 degrees overnight. We're going to have these 55-degree games and 60-degree games, and then you occasionally get those Bronx games with snowflakes flying in the air.
Yeah, like that one year when they played Oakland. Remember that game? Oh, my God. That's one of the greatest. They played that in Yankee Classic on Yes. I love watching that with Andy Pettit pitching, and you see the snowflakes coming down, and John Sterling and Michael Kay are doing the broadcast on the radio side. Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. Was that the old stadium or new stadium? That was back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, early 90s? Yeah. So, yeah, baseball is just around the corner, and high school baseball just around the corner as well.
So the Yankees don't come back into the Bronx and kick off their home opener until next Friday, April 3rd, and it's against the Marlins. So maybe the weather will be sunny and like 50 degrees at Yankee Stadium for the opening day.
Yankees start Giants, Mariners, Marlins?
Yeah, they're on the West Coast.
It's bizarre. Although I guess, you're going to have a lot of interdivisional games, the Rays, the Red Sox.
Yeah, but how about the Mets?
Orioles.
They play this week, and then they go on the West Coast. They have the Giants a week from Friday.
I'm okay with the early season West Coast trips, to be honest with you. It seems like the Mets tend to, after the All-Star break, get hung up on a West Coast trip that sends them out there for 10 days. It's like 10 games in 11 days or something, and they'll go, 4-7 over those, or 3-7, 4 and 6 over that 10-game span, and it always seems to wobble them and
or like when they
hobble them when they start the second half of the season.
Or like when they send them out to the Midwest, they go against the Cardinals, they go against the Cubs, and then the Astros, and if they want to play interleague, they can play the Rangers, or they can play the Brewers, and then they can go like 6-5.
Smitty, we told you about this at the top of the hour and a bit at the end of last hour. Could you imagine chaos at America's airports in the spotlight today? It happened at LaGuardia Airport around midnight last night. LaGuardia is closed today after an Air Canada regional jet collided with a fire and rescue vehicle on the tarmac last night. The pilot and the co-pilot were both killed. Dozens of passengers were injured. Meanwhile, White House border czar Tom Homan says ICE agents will start showing up at airports today to help with security operations as TSA agents continue to go unpaid during the partial government shutdown. Look, I think they should get extra pay, right? If they're willing to do all this kind of, I know it's the federal government, and It's not some fly-by-night operation. It's been around for 250 years now, so I know they're going to pay these folks. But in the meantime, it's possible that these TSA workers might have to take out short-term loans to pay bills. I think they should be compensated above and beyond because, let's be honest, the average worker, American or foreign-born, doesn't matter. Actually, you're probably more likely to show up for work still if you're foreign-born. But the average American worker is not going to show up for work with the employer who's saying, yeah, we'll get to you. I promise we'll get to you at some point. I don't know if it's going to be next week, and I know we're already a month into this. It might be June before you get your next paycheck. But, yeah, just keep showing up and keep doing what you do, and we'll pay you eventually. Extremely disappointing, and I really feel like anytime that we have one of these shutdowns, members of Congress, the Senate, and the House should not be getting paid. You can have a position that's, well, I think this shutdown is justified or not justified, whatever. But the people who actually make that decision still get paid, where you have, these TSA agents, which have a very important job. They're expected to show up to work every day, and we'll get to you eventually. One more, Smitty. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments today over whether states can count mail-in ballots that are postmarked by Election Day but arrive late. A ruling in the case is expected by the end of June.
Is this dating back to when Trump was running against president against Biden in Georgia?
No, that is resolved, and Trump might have a particular issue with that depending on how this case is decided. But again, that issue is mail-in ballots that are postmarked by Election Day but arrive late. Now, it would seem like if they're postmarked by Election Day but arrive late, that's not the fault of the voter. So I would think that those should be counted, right? Because it's not the voter's fault. They did what they had to do. Maybe there was just a mix-up or a delay at the post office. So I guess we'll see how the Supreme Court argues on that. It is 7:27. We'll take a quick time out. We'll get an update as well, and we'll be joined by Samantha Colosimo-Testa from the Utica Council. We'll also talk to other councilors and the mayor coming up later this week. The recently passed budget. The mayor has until, I believe, Wednesday night or Wednesday to possibly veto the budget, and then the council would have an opportunity to override any of those vetoes. But we'll talk about that and paving and public safety and other issues as well. It's First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
Hurt in a car? Call William Attar. 315-444-4444.
It all began in 1985 with a single goal, a commitment to brighten our community. And with your kindness, that light grew brighter. Because for 40 years, you've helped Food Bank of Central New York deliver healthy food and hope. But that need continues to grow. So this year, please consider giving a little extra and make sure the light we shine together never goes out.
Spring is almost here. Get your yard ready with New Perspective Landscaping, your trusted local contractor. From paver patios, walkways, custom landscape design, and full-service maintenance. Call today and get on the schedule before spots fill up. Visit nplhardscape.com today.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
The Potting Shed Antiques in Whitesboro is buying silver, gold-filled, vintage costume, estate jewelry, and U.S. and Canadian coins. They've been your hometown buyer for over 50 years. While other gold and silver buyers claim to offer the highest prices, the Potting Shed Antiques actually delivers. Let Don Hartman take a look at your individual pieces or your entire collection. The Potting Shed Antiques, open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Please call ahead for an appointment. Visit thepottingshedantiques.com.
Cloudy skies, 31 degrees. Good morning. I'm Jeff Manaski, WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM News Time, 729. Iran is refusing to back down after President Trump issued a 48-hour deadline to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Trump threatened a major strike on Iran's power plants if Tehran does not comply. A spokesperson for Iran's military warned Sunday that if his country's fuel and energy infrastructure is attacked, Iran would strike the same type of facilities used by America and its allies across the region. The pilot and co-pilot of Air Canada, an Air Canada regional jet, were killed after that plane collided with a fire truck at New York's LaGuardia Airport late Sunday night. It happened about 11:40 last night when the fire truck was crossing an active runway while responding to a separate incident. Several dozen passengers on the jet suffered minor injuries. LaGuardia Airport remains closed today as officials investigate the events that led up to that collision. White House border czar Tom Homan says immigration and customs enforcement agents will start moving into airports today. Homan confirming a plan during an interview with CNN's State of the Union. He added that ICE agents have been at airports across the country for a long time. As I mentioned a moment ago, the Supreme Court will hear arguments today on whether states can count mail-in ballots that are postmarked by Election Day but arrive late. All 50 states require mail-in ballots to be postmarked by Election Day, but some states have grace periods in which ballots that are submitted by Election Day can be counted even if they arrive late. And the Sweet 16 field is set in the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Sunday's action was highlighted by 9th-seeded Iowa upsetting top seed Florida in the South region. In other top games, number 1 Arizona defeated number 9 Utah State. 5th-seeded St. John's beat number 4 Kansas at the buzzer. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM news time is 7:31. Here's your Weather Center forecast.
That cooler air continuing to spill in now. There's been some drizzle and flurries, even some spotty freezing drizzle this morning. So just a heads up for some slick spots. Weather Service has a statement out on that. A lot of clouds around, some limited sun and chilly today in the upper 30s. Tonight will clear at 22, teens North Country. Tuesday, sunshine 40, some rain showers near 50 on Wednesday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Cloudy skies, 31 degrees at 7:32. You know, Smitty, NASA says, I don't know if you've seen this video, but it's almost similar to the video that I described of that group of people in Israel who were sitting out and an Iranian missile goes overhead and then they're cheering for the interceptor to come and blow up the missile. It seems surreal, and I think many people might have thought it was AI. NASA says that a bright fireball seen over southeastern Texas on Saturday was a meteor. The agency says it likely broke apart over the Houston area. Video shows a burning ball of light streaking across the sky. In fact, it was daytime. It was a clear blue sky, but it's kind of scary anytime you see something like that. A little bit frightening it can be, but also very cool as well when we see stuff like that. I love watching shooting stars and all the stuff that we see up in the sky. Smitty, who do we have? Sam? Samantha Colosimo Testa, Utica council person. Good morning. How are you?
Hi, good morning. How's it going?
Good. So I finally got to watch the council meeting from last week that was talked about quite a bit. It ended up being uploaded to YouTube. There was a discussion going on about transferring funding from, different departments. And you were strongly against it because I think because your argument was the state money is coming in to kind of fill those budget holes. Explain what your position was and where we are today.
Sure. So what they wanted to do is, now this is after we've gone through each of our budget processes. Okay, we've met with all the department heads. We had the auditors come in. The audit that was complete stated that we ran an $880,000 deficit last year. So what we did was, when we got that additional state aid, was pay back the draw fund balance, because we were still using $2.1 million out of fund balance in order to cover the deficit inside the budget. In addition to the $880,000 that was the deficit rate in that budget, I wanted to put that money in contingency because it is unrestricted funds. Now, back in February, we borrowed a $5 million revenue anticipation note because we didn't have enough money into our account. So this unrestricted fund that the governor gave that we were well overdue for, as far as advocating for additional state aid because it's been stagnant for quite a bit of time. Really went into our budget, and that's I was looking for a little bit of sustainability to not have to borrow, knowing that contracts that were settled, such as CSEA, such as Teamsters, and then you get into the component of police and fire possibly being settled as well. So there were a number of things, and what the council did, this was after they got a spreadsheet stating that we were paying $6.4 million, which is $1.4 million in addition to the minimum that we have, which is $5 million each year. And they wanted to put $500,000 into a paving fund. Now, here's the thing: the capital outlay account that they originally had, we could not because they're restricted funds and they're only meant for that. We couldn't dictate to the Board of E&A how they have to spend those funds. So what they did was they amended the entire petition, the entire ordinance, to go from a capital outlay account to a street maintenance account. Well, we pay out of street maintenance is salt and so on and so forth. So they gave DPW an extra $500,000 for salt. I mean, because obviously, that's not the money that we pave roads out of in that $5 million each year. So
was that a mistake on their part? I don't understand that because
because an ordinance, when it's the first time it comes out, it has to be unanimous. So they couldn't introduce a new piece of legislation because they ran out of time. So what they did was they amended a petition because it was already introduced to committee in order to change the entire validity of the actual piece of legislation. And when I asked the question of how can you do this, I was told sue me. So I mean, obviously, it's a joke. Like, I mean, how many more Article 78s can the Common Council, take on in the city to stop wasting people's time? But that at the end of the day, that was that, and I wasn't comfortable with the way they were utilizing, possibly 2 percentage points out of the actual budget. And really, at the end of the day, we were going down to 0%. That was recommended from not only the administration, but the idea of the council. That's what we did. It was how they utilized those funds inside the actual budget after that fact, which was the issue. And like I said, excuse me, if we weren't borrowing $5 million to pay our bills, maybe an additional $500,000 for paving would make sense, but not at this point in time. So that was, really the reason that I personally, voted against that.
So right now the budget, as it was passed, a 0% tax increase, but how much? $5 million borrowed to make ends meet?
That was in February. The comptroller's office sent down a revenue anticipation note because we did not have enough funds at that time to pay bills. So it cost us $20,000 to borrow $5 million. And again, we did pay down that debt service with an additional $3.6 million. But for a gimmick to just say, look at us, we paid $500,000 extra in the budget this year, is just not feasible, especially when you're borrowing $5 million. I mean, to pat yourself on the back like that, like we didn't know that the reason we were able to get the tax increase down to zero was that the governor gave, the city of Utica an extra $3.6 million. So I don't know. I found it, a little, I guess, I don't know, not aggravating, but a little weird that, they patted themselves on the back for something that we knew what we were getting at anyways. You could actually not have passed any budget amendment and literally just put whatever the tax rate would be inside the amendment that we pass every year, and that's what the tax levy in Utica would be. So all the other nonsense that anybody wanted to talk about really doesn't make a difference because the only thing that matters is that 0%, in that actual amendment for the budget to be passed.
Talking with Utica Councilperson Samantha Colosimo Testa, the city just passed a budget. The council just passed a budget on Thursday. It now goes upstairs to the mayor. Are you expecting he can veto portions of it, or it's a take it or leave it, the whole thing?
The budgets, there's 6 people. So 6 people is a supermajority, which becomes veto proof.
Right.
I think that if he does veto anything, it would have to be on principle, like maybe the budget amendment that they amended to change the total validity of an ordinance might be a reason to veto something. Paving an extra $500,000 when we're already paving $6.4 million might be a reason to veto. I mean, I haven't had a conversation with him in regards to what he wants to veto, or if he plans on vetoing anything. I know that a meeting was scheduled for Wednesday. But I mean, again, I think the bigger picture is that you're borrowing $5 million in order to pay your bills, and then still spending money instead of sustaining your budget first. And that's, again, goes back to my original issue and what I had with the council in the proposals that they had. Like, for example, they took $20,000 away from a contractual obligation from the engineering department, right? But like you just had to pay $20,000 in order to borrow money. Right. Like, so it's like, again, it doesn't make sense to why you wouldn't want to go back with that, getting yourself sustainable inside a budget, and then whatever money you have left over, that's what you spend your money on, So that was definitely a concern. But we have been advocating for additional CHIPS funding. And, it sounds like a lot, but $6.4 million doesn't get you, every road in Utica paved when you have 212 miles of roads. But, I mean, it's definitely an increase from the, $2 million that we used to pave, several years ago.
Is there an estimate on how much it costs to pave a mile in the city? Like, how far will that $6.4 million go?
It depends. If it's mill and fill, it depends if it's total reconstruction. It depends if it's resurfacing. So there's definitely a difference in what those cost. I don't have them off the top of my head, but I believe there might have been 15 roads on the list to not entire streetscapes, the entire length, but a number of roads that had to be done.
Sam, does the city still send out the pothole filler or the pothole killer or whatever?
No, they I think that machine has been retired since like 2007. But they do take cold patch and they go around, and DPW will. But that's depending on if it's warm enough. You're not going to just waste time filling stuff if it's not going to hold because of the temperature and the snow and so on and so forth. So they will be out, within the next month, and I'm sure I know they have before, going around and taking the asphalt and filling the holes inside the city. But we had a rough winter. I was actually having a conversation with somebody that lives down south, and they were having a discussion. It's like, listen, we get new roads, because we have hurricanes and so on and so forth. Like, we lose our homes and devastations, and the bigger picture that you have to look at is, yes, are the roads terrible? Absolutely, and they need to be fixed. But we had a bad winter, and when your roads freeze and they thaw and they freeze and they thaw, and you've got plow trucks going out to the tune of 90 times in a winter. It's definitely going to be of a bad look with our roads. Once everything's all said and done.
Yeah, I'm not picking on the city, but I mean there are some massive.
Listen,
massive
Jeff,
potholes.
I was listening to another council person's interview, and it actually made sense. The city spent $60 million. They didn't have any say in ARPA funding, this, that, and the third, and it's just like now you're micromanaging lines of $20,000, and it's like maybe if you took a bigger picture and actually took some responsibility into it, that ARPA fund, you would have realized that infrastructure would have been a top priority. Especially that your unrestricted fund balance is dwindling down because the money that was being spent was out of control at that time for our budget as well. I mean, if you look at our budget from 2022 to 2026, 27, I mean, you're at almost $20 million in additional spending. In several years, and it's really hard to keep up with. And the last couple of years, we really put a stop to any additional spending that wasn't necessary. Inside the budget, and that's how we've been able to really pump the brakes on increasing that budget even more so. But there are some things that you have to see, like your contract settlements and so on and so forth.
Which they were, correct?
There's only CSCA, I believe. I'm not 100% sure about Teamsters, and then there's still police and fire that have to be settled. So those haven't been taken into account for the budget either, which is something that you got to kind of look into the future and project those costs to be able to sustain that as well.
Yeah. All right, Utica Councilperson Sam Testa, thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
All right, you too.
All right, take care.
Let's see. Tim comments here. I can't imagine what the cost will be to pave this year due to the war and the massive increase in petroleum-based products. Yeah, I would imagine it's going up, but let's be honest, it goes up every year anyway.
And Rocky says this is the disgrace that Utica hasn't paved its high-paid roads like Higbee. The damage to vehicles' front end has to be massive.
It's again, I'm not picking on Utica. It's not just Utica, but
It's
the
all
size
over.
of some of the potholes that I've seen. You know, I had to do a tie rod and a ball joint this year, which was, I think, all combined $850. And I can't pinpoint it. I can't say it happened at this intersection or it happened on this date. But man, you go over those potholes enough times. Jeez. It's like gutting the bottom of your vehicle. As a matter of fact, I was in a parking lot, in a Oriskany one day last week.
Yeah, you said this story on the air.
Oh yeah, and it said drive like your kids are in this parking lot. And it would be like taking your kid and throwing him in the Grand Canyon. I couldn't believe some of the size of the potholes in this particular parking lot. Anyway, so the Utica budget passes. Galimi's got a chance to veto some things, but as Sam pointed out, Councilperson Testa pointed out, the Democrats have the majority, the veto-proof power, because they have 6 of the 9 members. It is First News Keeler in the morning. A quick timeout. We'll be joined by State Assembly candidate Dan Fusco coming up after the break. It's First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
Don't rely on a standard off-the-shelf security system. When it comes to protecting your home, there's a big difference between plug and play and a professionally designed system. At CML Security, security is personal. Their skilled technicians meet with you one-on-one, walk your property, and design a custom system built around your family's needs. From security cameras, intrusion systems, and smart home features, they can also add a level of fire protection to their intrusion systems. They install commercial-grade equipment and provide a warranty on systems that they install. Call CML Security at 315-866-5845 today to schedule your in-home consultation. That's 315-866-5845 or visit cmlsecurity.net. Based in Herkimer, they serve the central New York area. CML Security. Call 315-866-5845. Personalized protection your family can trust.
Whitesboro Central School District is looking for bus drivers to join their team. Whitesboro is a leading school system in central New York with 7 schools, 3,100 students, and holding a 92% graduation rate. You can help drive our students' success. When you drive for Whitesboro, you get great benefits, a flexible schedule, and summers off. Perfect for retirees with extra time. Help drive our future leaders with Whitesboro Central School Transportation. Call Andy at 315-768-9740 or stop by the garage, 20 Wood Road, Whitesboro.
Something old is new in the village of New Hartford. Introducing Handshake Antiques, now open at 66 Genesee Street, next to Giorgio's Village Cafe. Not your grandma's antique shop. Think clean, curated, and cool. From high-end furniture, vintage fashion, vinyl records, to oddities and all things eclectic. And we're always buying, so look in your attic or basement. And if it's old, call Handshake Antiques. Plus, inventory changes weekly, so every visit is a new find. Handshake Antiques, where it never went out of style.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, it is 7:48. First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX. Joining us in studio, Dan Fusco, one of the Republican candidates running for the assembly seat currently held by Marianne Buttonshaw in the 119th. Good morning, Dan. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Good morning to the listeners.
So obviously New York State is in the midst of its budget now. Any recommendations, anything that you see in the budget process that stands out to you that either needs to be a boost in funding or that we need to eliminate?
The budget is very interesting because it's increasing, tremendously. They're up to about $270 $1 billion right now, and less than 10 years ago, it was $100 billion less than that. Yet in the budget, I don't see much increase for things, practical things that people would really feel themselves personally, such as CHIPS increases or assistance to municipalities. We're not seeing that, but we're seeing radical increases in their green energy push and the build out of the electrical infrastructure. So
yeah,
we're seeing a lot of that.
So, let me ask you, the last time you were here, I want you to address something.
Sure.
We talked a little bit about National Grid, and Bill and I discussed this after, and some of the feedback we got was that you were kind of like, well, they got to make their money. I mean, let them do their thing, and that was it was kind of it came across as maybe a little flippant on National Grid and the price increase. What is your real feeling on that?
I'm so glad you asked that question because I was talking to a buddy of mine in Italy last night, and I told him, he says, how's things going? I said, well, I have a radio interview in the morning and so on, and he goes, 50% of the people are going to like it, 50% of the people aren't. But what happens? It's not so much that they like you; it's that their willingness to misinterpret things. There's a spin on everything. And when people spin, usually creates an emotion that is very effective to sway somebody's opinion. So thank you for asking that question. I would like to clarify that a little bit. Every rate increase that we've seen, and I predicted this almost 4 years ago when I got involved with politics, that we were going to see major rate increases. Now, because of the electrification of New York State. Okay. So, but I see candidates now coming on blaming the power companies. I don't blame them directly because they have been enabled by the lawmakers, by the policymakers. I don't like that they're making such major profits. They're standing to make over $1 billion and profits in the recent rate increases. There's another hidden gain that they make that I'm completely against, and I'm against them profiteering off the backs of my constituents. They make almost $1 billion as far as I know, and I don't know because they're not obligated by law to disclose what they make in their energy credits, the renewable energy credits that they get. They don't need to disclose that because they're an authority. They're not a public government office, so they don't need to disclose that. So they're making billions and billions of dollars off the suffrage, I'll call it at this point, of the constituents of all of New York State. Now, the other thing I really don't like about our power companies, and this was enabled by New York State lawmakers, they're foreign entities. NYSEG is owned by Abergola, a Spanish company. They slowly bought out Avangrid, and to the point where they had, I think Avangrid was only holding 14% and it was publicly traded. Well, they bought out that remaining 14% and they delisted the company. Now, NYSEG is currently 100% owned privately by a Spanish company. You see, National Grid is owned, everybody thinks it's a British company. Well, it's headquartered in London, but it's a multinational investor-owned company. How can you regulate that? I'm totally against New York State lawmakers empowering these foreign companies to come in and buy our most sensitive and vulnerable infrastructure. The same thing with the water authority treatment plants that's owned by a French company. See, so if we're going to get control of our country, we have to bring this stuff back home to American soil. Remember, I'm a conservative Republican. I believe in bringing this stuff home to American soil and us controlling. How else are you going to regulate it? But yet we have people in the New York State legislature, lawmakers, empowering them and giving it to them, then coming back and say, oh, they're the bad guys. You see what I mean? So I am not favoring the power companies at all. I would like to see all our power infrastructure owned domestically. I really would. And profits that they make, hidden profits like with the RECs, that needs to be returned back to the ratepayers. There's a lot of money sitting in the CLCPA funds that have not been used. That needs to be returned to the ratepayers.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, too, about the foreign control of the grid, or you were talking about water treatment. It just seems, I don't know, maybe it's hysteria on my part, but it does seem to me that it's to our advantage to control that. And again, when you have the interests of different countries kind of coming to a head, which could be the case, or, I don't know. I just feel like it's in better hands if we control it.
That is common sense. And what our country was founded on, which was Western capitalism, is rare. It doesn't exist in Europe. You see, that's what our founding fathers established our country on. Now, there's a dark side to that where capitalists do take advantage and they run with it, but only if our lawmakers enable them.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening in New York State. We have lawmakers, whether it's pressure from lobbyists, campaign financing, whatever is enabling them, our lawmakers are just handing it over to them. So I don't want to hear any candidate this year talk about how anyone's the bad guy other than them.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we should say, obviously pro-capitalism, right? Yeah. But it's like this is a public utility that is allowed to, without competition, come in and make money. Yeah. So I'm not for capping people's incomes, but it's a public utility. I mean, it's not like we can get energy from someplace else, although I guess you could put solar panels on your roof, and in 20 or 25 years, maybe you'll get a check back from National Grid. But, it's not like I said, going to the supermarket and buying an item. Oh, we got this kind of sausage and this kind of sausage. Which one do I want? Do I want to pay a little more? Do I like this taste better? It's kind of, you're forced to take it. And a 3-year increase, which was approved by the Public Service Commission last year, this year was a 35% hike. Yeah. And my understanding is year 3 is the worst of it, when it's going to be a 50% hike. It's only going to get worse.
This is just what I warned about. I was, I always would tell my wife, we'd watch things. We're aware of what's going on, seeing what's coming at us. And I said, honey, when it comes down my driveway, I'm jumping in. And then it did. They were going to surround my beautiful 50-acre piece that I've worked hard since I was a kid for, right? I built everything on that property with my own 2 hands. And they were going to surround that property with thousands of acres of solar panels. I did not like that. And then when they start calling it a solar farm, that's incorrect. It's not a farm. It doesn't produce food. It doesn't really help agriculture. Then when I said I saw people coming in, investors buying farmland specifically to put into this program, I didn't like it at all. So I became an activist, and I went to our town board, made them aware of it. I went to other town boards. I went to the county legislature. I was on a ad hoc committee with the county legislature, and we really looked at this issue. I did not like that, because that was coming down my driveway at that point. But what I became keenly aware of, that any elected office has to be based on representation, right? So when you have elected officials, lawmakers, or people with executive authority into elected positions, they need first and foremost to be representing their constituents, not in empowering profiteering from foreign companies off the backs of hardworking people. Right? And we can get into another issue. Maybe we can do this another day, and that would be what they are calling affordable housing. I don't know if it's affordable housing. I'd have to have them open their books and sit down with my CPA and analyze it. What it is concentrated corporate and government-owned housing. And that I've been accused of being racist because I question that. I'm not racist. The furthest thing you'll meet from it. But what I see is people of a certain demographic being exploited for the profit of corporations. You see, I was talking to a housing advocacy group in Utica the other day, and great bunch of young people. I really admired them. They got up and spoke at the Common Council meeting, and they go a little further left than I do on some things, but they're still my constituents. They're still beautiful people. They're young people, and I really admired how they got up and spoke. Right? I asked them. I said, "Do you want to own your own home someday?" They said, "Yes. That's our goal." I said, "And that's my goal for you. Do you rent? Yes. Do you feel you'll ever be able to own your own home? No." He says, "All we do is pay rent, and corporations are buying these houses, and a lot of times when they buy them, they kick us out." So they were there advocating, against, asking the city basically help against these landlords that throw them on the street. That's really bad. These people deserve to have a home to live in. This is the United States of America, right? The American dream should be available to everyone. So I asked him, I said, the way I see it is you guys are tossed into a sand pit. And I climbed out of that sand pit as a young guy. I started with 0. I said, "You feel like you're scratching, and are you ever going to get out of that sand pit?" They said, "We don't feel like we ever are going to get out of that sand pit." I am totally against anyone being exploited for the profit of corporations or government programs.
Dan, we're unfortunately out of time this hour. Can you stick around? You want to stay for another segment, or do you have to run?
Yes, sir. I'll be happy to stay.
Okay, so, and maybe we'll take some questions. You can send us a question via the WIBX 950 mobile app, or you can call us at 315-736-0186. I want to talk more about evictions and corporations buying houses, et cetera, and we'll take your calls as well. It's 7:59. We're wrapping it up here for this hour. We'll have a news update at the top of the hour. Smitty, what do we have coming up next hour? Dan's going to stick around, but what else do we have?
We have Fred Matt coming up, the Utica Saranac FX Max celebrating 138th anniversary, and we'll be speaking with Jack Gordon, the Director of Media Relations for the Syracuse Mets, on an upcoming preview of the season.
Yeah, it's just around the corner. We'll take a break, come back after this on WIBX.
From the WB Payne Insurance Studios, your news talk leader since 1925. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now the latest from Fox News.
This is a Fox News alert. President Trump suggests an end could be coming to the conflict with Iran. I'm Dave Anthony. That replaces our top story of a deadly plane crash that's closed a major New York City airport. More on that in a moment. As for Iran, the president a short time ago informed us there are productive talks toward a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East.
President Trump taking to Truth Social not only to say there are very good and productive conversations taking place between the United States and Iran, but he goes on to say he's ordered the Department of War to postpone for at least 5 days strikes against Iran's energy and power infrastructure.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. That initial Trump deadline was tonight, and Iran had threatened to retaliate, targeting electricity and drinking water in the Middle East. Now, there's big reaction to the Trump statement in financial markets. Oil prices plunging more than 6%, and on Wall Street, Dow futures up more than 700 points. And now to that crash just before midnight at LaGuardia Airport in New York.
2 pilots dead after this violent collision between an Air Canada Express plane and a Port Authority fire truck.
Fox's CB Cotton is at LaGuardia.
The aircraft ripped apart, its nose completely sheared off on the tarmac just feet away. The fire truck overturned, crushed, and heavily damaged.
That truck had clearance to cross the runway. Then just as the plane landed, it was told to stop over and over, but it was too late. LaGuardia is closed till this afternoon. More than 500 flights canceled to and from there, while other airports remain plagued by hours-long security lines as more TSA agents work without pay in that standoff in Congress over funding, and they're not showing up, some of them. So starting today, immigration agents will be sent to airports to help. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries tells CNN State of the Union that's the last thing we need.
Potentially to brutalize or in some instances kill them. We've already seen how ICE conducts itself.
Democrats have blocked Homeland Security funding, demanding immigration enforcement reforms. America's listening to Fox News.
I didn't switch to Pure Talk just because I wanted to save 50% off the same 5G service I'd been paying twice as much for. I switched because I like the idea of being in business with a wireless company that supports our veterans in a meaningful way. Pure Talk also creates American jobs every day by keeping their entire operation in this country. I appreciate that. If you feel the same, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Again, our top Fox News story, a Trump Truth Social post a short time ago touting what he called very good and productive conversations with Iran on a complete and total resolution of hostilities in the Middle East, pushing back tonight's deadline for Iran to allow shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. He's now giving Iran 5 days, or else the U.S. would target power plants and energy infrastructure. All that's leading to a big drop in oil prices, down more than 6%. Though the price of gas is up another penny today. AAA's national average for regular at $3.95 per gallon is almost $1 more than before the Iran conflict started last month. The president will hit the road today, going to Tennessee, touting his
crack down on crime there.
The president has pointed to the Memphis Safe Task Force as a success. The administration claims surging federal law enforcement to the city resulted in more than 7,000 arrests and has taken hundreds of guns and drugs off the streets. But the use of federal police and National Guard troops in places like Memphis and Washington, D.C. sparked protests and some legal challenges. President Trump's visit also comes amid the ongoing shutdown for the Department of Homeland Security. Tens of thousands of federal agents, including at the TSA, are working without pay as Democrats demand reforms to ICE and Border Patrol. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
A big March Madness upset. The defending men's college basketball champions, Florida, knocked out by Iowa on a shot in the closing seconds. St. John's also advanced with a buzzer beater, KOing Kansas.
He's got to go. Darling puts it up.
The call on CBS also wanting to advance to the Sweet 16 in the NCAA men's tournament. Alabama, Arizona, Connecticut, and Iowa State, Purdue, and Tennessee. On the NASCAR track, Tyler Reddick won the race at Darlington. That's his fourth NASCAR Cup win of the season. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Mostly cloudy skies and some snowflakes out there as well. 31 degrees. Good morning. I'm Jeff Manaski. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time is 8:05. This news update brought to you by the new destination Kia of Utica on Commercial Drive in Yorkville. A Rome man arrested following a traffic stop in the village of Sylvan Beach on allegations of drug possession. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office says it conducted a stop at Pioneer Ave in the village. During the course of that stop, deputies located a quantity of methamphetamine possessed by the operator of the vehicle, identified as 26-year-old Joshua Gillette of Rome. He faces felony and misdemeanor counts of criminal possession of a controlled substance, aggravated unlicensed operation, and several traffic violations as well. Albany International Airport is not currently slated to have ICE agents staffed there. This after President Trump's announcement that ICE agents will begin deploying to U.S. airports later today. Officials say the agents will help relieve TSA officers from less critical duties. The move comes after Trump warned that he would act if lawmakers failed to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Meanwhile, the partial government shutdown has left TSA workers unpaid, leading to longer airport wait times across the country. And the 13th annual Syracuse Half Marathon in the books. It happened on Sunday with over 3,000 runners participating in the 13.1-mile race in downtown Syracuse. Participants came from 34 different states. Over $10,000 in donations was donated to Central New York Ronald McDonald House, Upstate Golisano Children's Hospital, CNYSPA, and Meals on Wheels. We're talking with State Assembly candidate Dan Fusco here in studio on Keeler in the Morning. We'll continue that conversation in just one moment.
That cooler air continuing to spill in now. There's been some drizzle and flurries, even some spotty freezing drizzle this morning. So just a heads up for some slick spots. Weather Service has a statement out on that. A lot of clouds around, some limited sun and chilly today in the upper 30s. Tonight will clear 22, teens North Country. Tuesday, sunshine 40, some rain showers near 50 on Wednesday. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Some snowflakes. Maybe we got white stuff covering the grass once again this morning, but we're not expecting much accumulation at all. Right now, 31 degrees at 8:08. All right, quickly in sports, GMAC, Jerry McNamara, in line to be the next head basketball coach at Syracuse University. Details still being finalized between the university and McNamara. Utica Pioneers hockey, they came up short on Saturday at the Adirondack Bank Center, losing to Wisconsin, a final of 5-1. Hamilton won in overtime, though, 2-1. So Hamilton advances to the D3 Frozen Four, and that tournament happening at the Adirondack Bank Center this weekend. Friday at 3, Hamilton will play. Their opponent is Aurora, and then Hobart, which is still undefeated, will play Wisconsin Friday night in the nightcap at 7 o'clock. The D3 National Championship game is Sunday at 3 at the Adirondack Bank Center. Also wanted to mention Cooperstown boys basketball getting a state title over the weekend. Congratulations to them on an undefeated season with a state title to boot. And Utica Notre Dame, the girls basketball team, made it all the way to the title game, the state title game on Sunday. Unfortunately, they came up short, a final of 54-48. A great year. They were undefeated entering that game, but unfortunately, Utica Notre Dame loses to Tappan Zee again, final 54-48. Major League Baseball gets underway this week, Wednesday night for the Yankees, Thursday for the Mets, and obviously throughout the morning we've highlighted the Sweet 16 action. Syracuse women's basketball won on Saturday. They play again today?
Yeah, tonight, 7 o'clock, against the mighty Yukon Huskies.
Yeah,
Gonna
that's
be
a tough draw.
Task to take down the Huskies.
Yeah. It is 8:09, and it's First News Keeler in the morning. We're joined in studio by Dan Fusco. We're continuing our conversation from last hour. A couple of things I wanted to follow up on. Dan, I think most people would agree with your point about protecting people from evictions, and, you know, there's too many corporations coming in buying housing. But at the same time, you know, should the state, or whether it's a municipality, a local one, look at coming in and saying, certain entities or certain classifications of businesses can't purchase homes, whether it be in the city, in an urban area, or in other parts of the state. What is your take on that? Because, you know, it's for someone selling a home, it's like, well, why should you have any say as to who I sell the house? I want to get top dollar for my property, and should you have a say in that or not?
Hey, let me back up to sports a little bit.
Yeah.
You left out a really important championship game at the Nexus Center where the New Hartford youth won the championship.
I didn't know this. Go ahead, tell us.
My granddaughter Emma was a superstar goalie, and her dad, Josh Gagnon, did an awesome job with these kids. They're like 7, 8 years old. It was so much fun to go to the Nexus Center and watch these little guys win. And they
Is soccer or hockey?
Hockey. I'm sorry. Did I say soccer?
No.
I coached soccer for a long time. So
my son has played several soccer tournaments at Nexus, so I didn't know.
It was awesome. So, you know, hats off to them. And literally, they all got a hat and a T-shirt. So I just wanted to mention that. Good on you guys. You were awesome. So, yeah, you know, as one getting involved with politics and wanting to be a state lawmaker, that's, you know, this isn't class president. This is big stuff, and it should be handled with a level of, you know, maturity and intelligence. And I hope I meet that criteria. You have to look at what's going on globally too. And one of the places I look as a model, and I looked in the same place when I was looking at energy and predicted the increase in energy costs, is in the UK. Now in the UK, the Green Party just won an election, and their platform is very similar to Mayor Mandami's platform, and that is the abolishment of landlordism or landlordship, however you would say it. They want to go back more to the model of council houses, government-owned houses. Well, that model is transferring over into the United States, but you know, here it's not so much government; it's the corporations that really are, in a sense, the government. They're the big bank. They are the big power. So, you know, it's a very complicated issue, and President Trump is trying to deal with this. He passed an executive order, I think it was 14159, that was really misinterpreted. It was spun, and it's putting restrictions on certain foreign entities if they have terrorist backgrounds, convicted criminals, ties. I hope I'm representing well. Ties to terrorist governments and organizations. So he's trying to say, well, do we want these people coming in and buying up properties, you know, next to our military bases and so on and so forth? But that was spun thinking that a very good Hispanic friend of mine said, well, my husband's not going to be able to buy a house. I said, no, he is. But it was spun to make it think that, to spin it, to make people look bad. Once again, to cite emotion and not necessarily fact. So I hope I'm answering the question. But what we are seeing in Utica is when you have a corporation coming in up buying 150 houses. Now, a lot of these guys are paying cash. You see, and I have experience in investing in real estate, not so much in this market, but in other hotter markets. It's hard to compete with, and they increase the sale price of that house. Now, there's a double whammy there. Home value inflations have outpaced earnings, private
Definitely,
earnings.
sure.
Okay? And inflation has outpaced earnings. So it's a double whammy. It's a double spread. You see, that makes homes very unaffordable. And if you want to make homes more affordable, we must look there. So to some extent, and I don't know how to do it. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I know how to do that. But when I'm elected as your assemblyman, I'm going to put a team on that to look at that. How do we really address that? To address your point, it's like, yeah, and you can come from another country and buy a house here. But can corporations come up and block buy? Can they, and squeeze out other people? Do you give the residents preference? I don't know. One thing to look at, though, is Wall Street. You have a lot of money that comes through mutual funds to fund the purchase of real estate. You have the real estate investment trusts that put massive money into this initiative to buy up as many houses as they can. What's the motive? Why are they doing that? Why is Mondami wanting to get rid of landlords? Why is the Green Party wanting to abolish landlordship? I don't know, but it really has my interest, and we need to look at that very closely.
I want to ask you, you made the point about when you were talking to a group of young folks in Utica when you talked about eviction. Mm-hmm. I understand the need and the concern for wanting to protect people from being unrightfully evicted from a property. But at the same time, I think we saw this during COVID where the government stepped in and said, all right, nobody can be evicted during this time.
Right.
And you had people just basically going months and months, and I think in some cases over a year, without paying any rent. And then when the bill came due, when the state said, okay, now you have to start making payments, they just said, yeah, I'm out of here. And landlords, which in some cases are, it's a 2-family house, the, mother and father and maybe 2 kids live upstairs or something, and they rent the lower half of the building, and it pays their mortgage essentially.
Once again, without landlords, you're not going to have homes for people to live in. So you can't kill the landlords, and the tenants have rights. So once again, what's the issue? If the government is sponsoring it through housing vouchers or Section 8, maybe they need to get involved with contracts that benefit both parties. I'm business-minded. I always say everything's negotiable. You could put me up against one of the hardest cases that somebody says, well, you can't win that. I say, no, everything's negotiable. And I'm a hound dog. I stay on it until I win it or until I agree it's unwinnable, one or the other. So if you look at the contracts that these people are living under, who does it benefit the most? And maybe somehow they could be rectified. The folks I talked about in Utica the other day said, we have no contracts. We just get a notice that we're out on the street. So they should have a contract. Whenever I signed a contract to rent real estate through my businesses, I always gave myself the option of renewal. So these people can go with a 1-year option, which protects the landlord, and if they don't pay the rent, they're out, but these people are willing to pay the rent. But they have the option for renewal in their benefit, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. You see, so you have to do that, but you have to consider both sides, because without property owners, you have no property. And you can't let the government take over that property, and you can't let corporations take over that property. You need good relationships with good private landlords, and there has to be some advocacy for the renter, and what that is, I don't know. That's more of housing urban development issue, not so much an assembly candidate. But we would certainly look at that as closely as we could.
So let me ask you also about the housing facility that was proposed in Deerfield, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that was how we got to know you here on this show. Was you had kind of come out with some concerns. Ultimately, was voted down, and you were against it, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, I was against issuing the permit because we weren't provided with enough information. And I can't speak too much because there looks like there's going to be a pending lawsuit on that, which is what this company does. They go into areas, they get kicked out, and they sue them. So I'm actually being deposed on that later this week. So, but that's about all I can say. But to address the affordable housing itself, number one, I don't like that term, affordable housing, because is it really? If you're going to come to me and call it affordable housing, sit down with me, open my books. I'm going to have my CPA with me, and you're going to show me how this is affordable housing. Instead, it's concentrated housing, putting as many people in a small space as possible. And this is, once again, coming out of Europe, right? It's a form of socialism. It's the collectivism that Mayor Mamdani is talking about in New York City.
Well, how so? How is that a form of socialism?
Well, because they're corporate owned, and they're government subsidized. And once again, if they can show me how this housing is going to be a pathway out for these people to private home ownership, I'm all for that, you see. But I wasn't against this because it was affordable housing. I was against it because the developer, quite frankly, wasn't giving us the right information. So how, the board voted unanimously against it. I was just I'm a representative of the people, and the people were coming to me. The one ground that I really stand by is and this is a legitimate ground for municipality to deny a permit on almost anything, is when it changes the character of the town. And this is what the residents were coming, said this is going to change the character of a town. We're a rural community. Another thing of interesting note.
How many units was it, for those who might not remember?
65 units, and with a daycare center. Now, Governor Hochul awarded a grant of $12.1 million if housing and daycare was built. So the developers come in, they want that money, because with that money, then they can build out the site even further. You see what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So, but let's talk about this. What is it really? And that's all I want to know. I'm a board member. I had a vote. I wanted to know what it was, and they listened to some of the meetings. They weren't clear, and I said, why aren't you just telling me what this is? I'm not against that. I want people to have affordable housing.
Yeah.
See, but what is this project? I had no idea what that project really entailed.
So I can understand the concerns about if you felt like you were being misled or they weren't being completely honest about it, for sure.
Disclosing all the information, not so much misleading, just not giving me the information I needed to make an intelligent vote.
And I'm sorry if I mischaracterized that. So let me ask you this, though. If it was adjacent to the SUNY IT property, how does that change the layout of the neighborhood? We're only talking 65 units. It's not like Deerfield was going to be overwhelmed. And if it's near SUNY IT, they do have that, I don't want to call it block housing, but that group-style house, dormitory-style housing up there. So it seems like if it was going to go anywhere in Deerfield, maybe near the campus would be appropriate. Any thoughts, reaction to that?
Could be. As a board member, we passed a variance to allow a permit to build what they called planned development extraordinaire. Now, I'm really not sure what that term means. I haven't found anything else that equated to that, but it was commercial residential development extraordinaire. I mean, they could have a hotel, they could have a gas station. I liked that idea, to tell you the truth, but they weren't looking at it comprehensively. So I never knew what the whole picture looked like. Now, I met with the developers the other day and said, let's look at this. Now they're talking about maybe proposing senior housing as part of it. The developers come in and say, well, we will build.
Same group?
Yeah, we will build senior. And I said, okay, well, let's talk. They wanted us all to say yes right then and there, and I said, no, Let's come back to the table. Now you're getting somewhere. You see what I mean? So to answer your question, I really don't know. I mean, that's civic planning. Oneida County hired a developer or a consulting company to assess housing inventory in the housing market in Oneida County, and they did a very, very thorough job. I'm a little confused because if you go on Oneida County's website, they said they hired a company called Urban Planners LLC. But if you look at the report is Urban Partners LLC, and they partner with foreign companies that do these 15-minute cities and C40 cities and all that sort of planned community development. So I was confused. It's Urban Planners or Urban Partners, whichever it is, but it was an urban style development coming into a rural area. That's something a township has every right of discretion to look at very closely and question. And that's where perhaps there's something there that would change the character, the community character, it's called. And that's what was concerning my constituents who were coming to me and saying, what is this? I said, let me ask. I don't know. And I wasn't getting answers.
Yeah. Just a thought quickly on, and I understand your concerns about that housing model. The state kicks in money. It's unclear exactly what the breakdown's going to be. It's affordable for who's eligible to move in here.
But they've been doing that since 1930, I think. Long time. It's okay.
I almost think it's similar to what we saw at SUNY IT, where it's like the state comes in, offers all this money, all these incentives, and a lot of people have questioned it, whether or not that's the best way to go forward, but it seems to be the model that New York State has adopted. I mean, we even see this with the facility in Clay.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Yeah, so I guess that's not really a question, but I'm just wondering. I guess the point I'm trying to get at is we need more of well, I'll use the term affordable housing. We need more housing. Period.
Houses
in this
that
market.
are affordable.
And it seems like the only. I shouldn't say the only, but a lot of what we see is this. The government subsidizes a portion of it. It's got to be mixed housing. You can have some seniors. You can have some low-income folks. Maybe you have some individuals with disabilities. They try to incorporate it all into one. I don't know that it's a successful plan. I don't know that it's the future of housing in New York State, but it's certainly the plan that they have right now. So,
well, I almost look at that $12.1 million as don't take this the wrong way as a bribe. To build out her ideology, which is in line with Mamdani's. But townships through home rule, if that still exists, there's remnants of it, have the discretion to vote on this stuff and to decide what they want to allow or not. See, so that's the thing. The townships do have the discretion.
All right, and then finally, your reaction to this. This is a comment from Lance here, and a couple of weeks ago, I think we might have gotten into this a little bit on the show. Lance says, Marianne is the only state Democrat in the area and really is the only state representative that gets anything for the area. Lance continues, if he's elected, Dan, will that will change? Does he think losing our only representative that can get things done is beneficial for our area? And I think the point he's trying to convey there is that Albany is so heavily controlled by Democrats that you could make the argument it's beneficial to the Utica area or this district to somewhere have a Democrat who is at least at the table when the state's going through these discussions and conversations. Your thoughts about that?
I believe in legacy. Marianne's done many good things for the community, and I would sit down with her and say, okay, hand off to me properly. That must be done, because not only did she help people, but she created things that people are now dependent upon and come to expect. But one of the problems I have with where I feel we need balance in our government is when you have a Democrat supermajority, and I'm going to tell you practically what happens when there's a vote. If you have a Democrat, and I've seen this happen, where they're sitting there kind of deliberating, the majority leader will come down and stand next to him with his arms folded and hawk right over him and just look at him. And what he's saying, if you don't dare vote the way the party wants us to vote, you're going to get primaried. This happens. The Republican Party, and that's why Democrats win so much. The Republican Party is like, you vote that way, buddy, you live with the consequences, that this happens on the assembly floor. So that Democrat is sitting there voting the way the party, even if in their heart, and I know Marianne had a lot in her heart for the area, even in their heart, if they want to be reelected, they're voting, they're bowing from that pressure. And when you press yay or nay, your vote goes up on a board. But after the session, you can go up and change your vote. So if you want favor from your constituents, you can vote no. But to make your majority happy leader, you can change that vote later on that day and vote yes. And then everybody's happy with you, and you're not going to get primaried. You're going to get the endorsement. That's how Albany politics works, and that stinks. We need representation. We need somebody. You had my opponent on not long ago. I didn't hear the interview, but of course my phone blew up. And you guys are saying, well, he's 70 years old. What is this, a retirement gig? Number one, I'm not 70 years old.
I don't remember us having this conversation, but go ahead.
So I'm 68 years old, just for the record. I'm a healthy 68 years old. Okay, so when you have somebody with political aspirations that wants to stay in for a long time, and that's not me. I believe in term limits. 2-3 terms in the assembly is perfect. Marianne bowed out perfectly, right? You're not going to kowtow to your party or to somebody hawking over you and say you vote our way or you're primaried. That's no good. That does not represent your community. So when you have a representative that is in the community helping the constituents but votes in a different manner under pressure of the party, which I would never do, that's a problem. And that's a problem. That's where representative government fails. So that's an important thing for people to understand. It's a good question, Lance.
Dan Fusco, appreciate your time this morning. We'd love to have you back again. We got to move on. Smitty, I believe Fred Matt is on the line. We'll take a very quick timeout. Let's just do 60 seconds. Dan, thank you for joining us. I see your website here is fusco4assembly.com. Yep. You can check out Dan's stance on issues and find out more about him. You got any town halls or anything coming up you'll be appearing at?
Yeah, we're going to be at Oscanizzo's Pizza on Wednesday. I think it's 7 o'clock.
What, like a meet and greet kind of?
Yeah, it's going to be a meet and greet. Then we have our first fundraiser on April 11th at the Manticore. It's going to be a great time. That's going to be 6 to 9 at the Manticore, Marcy, and there'll be more coming. Please keep an eye on the website, folks. There's a section called In the News where I state my position on a lot of policies. We put a lot of attention on that. So thank you very much for having me. And happy spring, guys. You got time for a joke? Just a short.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I heard this story. Springtime, a lot of wildlife comes to life, right?
Yeah.
So the other day, I don't know if you heard about this, but a duck walked into a bar, right? He plops up on the stool, and the bartender says, "What can I get you, duck?" He goes, "You got any milk?" The bartender said, "No, duck, this is a bar. We don't serve milk." So the duck leaves. Comes back the next day, plops up on the stool, says, "You got any milk?" The bartender says, "Duck, you ask me one more time if we got milk, and I'm going to nail your bill to the wall." The duck leaves. Comes back the next day, jumps up on the stool, and the bartender says, "What is it now, duck?" He goes, "You got any nails?" The bartender says, "No, duck, no nails." He goes, "Oh, you got any milk?"
Dan Fusco, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We'll quickly transition to Fred Matt. Let's skip the break. Fred's been on the phone for a few minutes waiting. Celebrating 138 years, the FX Matt Brewing Company. Good morning, Fred. How are you?
I'm great. You guys?
Pretty good, man. Happy spring is here. We're counting down the days. I'll be out there sipping on a beer, listening to live music in your parking lot. That's what I'm looking forward to.
No, that'll be fun. It'll be fun.
So 138 years. I know you've done it before, but can you give us a little history? Obviously, founded prior to Prohibition, and then what is it? The longest is it the longest or one of the longest continuously brewing breweries in the United States?
Yeah. So my great grandfather started the company 138 years ago. I'm the fourth generation to run the company, and I think what's cool is that family companies don't generally make it for fourth generations, much less 138 years. So the fact that we're thriving after 138 years is really a testament to the people that work here and our family staying with it, and the success rate's like 1% to 3%. So I think that's really cool. Yangling is the oldest family. We're, I believe, the third oldest family still in the business, and we're the oldest family in the New York State brewery scene. So all kind of cool.
So many times we see, and we were kind of having this conversation with the political candidate, Mr. Fusco, we just talked about earlier, talking about corporations coming and buying everything up. It is so unique that a family-owned business has been around for so long, and then you take on the work, it seems like, of bigger corporations as far as bottling and so on for other companies. Can you talk about how your business has expanded?
Yeah, so half of our business is our own brand, Saranac, Utica Club, Saranac Soft Drinks, our Right Coast, which is our Italian ice, which is absolutely delicious vodka spirits. And then we also produce we've worked with Brooklyn for over 30 years, Brooklyn Lager, Harpoon over 30 years. We work with Diageo, Sazerac, which are huge liquor companies. And so that, we've diversified just because in the branded market, as you call it, the Utica clubs, Utica Club is thriving now, but Utica Club's heyday was really kind of after Prohibition up to the 60s. And then it really struggled from the 60s up until, 10 years ago. And, now it's on fire.
Yeah. I had four of them myself last night.
Good. Thank you.
And thank you.
Well, the thing, they say in the beer business, it's, if your father drank it, it's not cool. If your grandfather drank it, it is cool. And so, thank you, grandfathers out there that kept drinking Utica Club, so the youngers are now drinking it.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's a good thing. But, what we're doing here is that on Wednesday we're going to do a little happy hour 4 to 6, and then kind of just run happy birthday stuff through the week. Since all the youngers like to celebrate their birthdays for a week, we decided we would too. And that's kind of a warm-up for Prohibition. April 8th weekend, we're going to have a big Prohibition party because the whole weekend, because we're the first beer sold after Prohibition, and that's Utica Club, which is, I think, also cool that in this country, of all the breweries that were around, we were first.
Yeah, that's
right
incredible.
out of Utica.
As you say, Wednesday from 4 to 6, it's the birthday kickoff happy hour. And is that going to be in the pub right above the gift shop?
Yep. Right in the pub, and we serve food there, and so it'll be a fun thing. And then Prohibition party the weekend of April 8th through the 11th.
April 8th. And then you've got, I see some sales as well going on the 25th through the 28th to celebrate the birthday.
Yep, exactly.
Fred, real quick, I'm going to go to your favorite consumer here. Joe Load is on the line. Joe, we've got Fred on. Go ahead quickly.
Good morning, Fred. Just a real quick question. Will we or will we not see the return of Saranac Shandy this summer?
Ooh, Joe, that's a good one. I'm going to have to see. We did pretty well with it last summer, but we've been focusing on UC Light. But you being a huge customer of ours, we're going to have to take it under consideration and think about doing that.
Okay, I guarantee double the sales this year if you let me help you market it.
He's offering some free marketing services, I think, for a couple cases of beer.
I know.
I don't even need that. I just love to see the actual brewery do well. That's my goal in life. Whether I'm employed
Joe, you've been a great
or not.
supporter over the years.
Well, and I drink it religiously. So.
Well,
no, we love you.
Joe, if they don't bring the shandy back, what are you going to drink this summer?
Well, I can't even tell them that because there's a competitive brand that's not as good.
Gotcha.
It's not as good, though, And then that's what I'm saying. The Saranac Shandy is probably the best tasting shandy on the market. And then there's no reason why we can't double sales this year over last year.
I mean, all you have to do is double your consumption, and the sales might double just on their own right there.
30 cases last summer. 30.
Wow. Yeah, some great products. I know, Fred, that's a lot. Even you think that's a lot, huh?
Yeah, exactly. That's good, Joe.
30 cases of Saranac Shandy. Yeah, he's all in, but Fred, you already knew that. Joe, I'll see you here tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow morning, I'll be on.
All right, bring some beers if you want. I'm down. So
excellent, perfect.
All right, and Fred, Matt, thank you again. Wednesday night, 4 to 6 in what's the name of
April 20 or March 25th through the 28th. We'll be doing a kind of a full day celebration of our birthday, and then
Prohibition party April 8th.
8th through the 11th.
Awesome, 8th through the 11th. Thank you so much, Fred, Matt. Appreciate it, man.
We'll
Happy birthday.
Take
care.
Thanks so much.
138 years for the FX Matt Brewing Company. In a press release that came out as we celebrate 138 years, this is from Fred. We're proud to honor the people and place that have made our story possible. The anniversary is a celebration of our employees, partners, and the community that continues to support us. Really a great story and a great staple in the city of Utica, the FX Matt Brewing Company. We'll take a quick time out. We'll come back. Got some comments here on YouTube and the WIBX mobile app that we'll get to. And we'll also talk some Syracuse Mets baseball. Of course, with the regular season just around the corner, the AAA club in Syracuse will be going soon as well. Back after this on WIBX.
Don't rely on a standard off-the-shelf security system. When it comes to protecting your home, there's a big difference between plug and play and a professionally designed system. At CML Security, security is personal. Their skilled technicians meet with you one-on-one, walk your property, and design a custom system built around your family's needs. From security cameras, intrusion systems, and smart home features, they can also add a level of fire protection to their intrusion systems. They install commercial-grade equipment and provide a warranty warranty on systems that they install. Call CML Security at 315-866-5845 today to schedule your in-home consultation. That's 315-866-5845 or visit cmlsecurity.net. Based in Herkimer, they serve the central New York area. CML Security. Call 315-866-5845. Personalized protection your family can trust.
Gems, flooring from Gems. We have the perfect shade of color for you. It's the style you've dreamed about.
Central New York homeowners have been trusting Gems Flooring America since 1917. Discover the beauty of 12 Oaks waterproof luxury vinyl flooring. Choose from a wide range of stunning colors and styles that look just like real hardwood. Why settle for whatever a big box store has in stock? We can often have your 12 Oaks floor ready in as little as 1 day. Plus, qualified buyers can enjoy 12 months with no interest financing. Gems Flooring America. Local flooring experts for over 100 years. Visit Gems Flooring America today and discover 12 Oaks waterproof luxury vinyl flooring.
Flooring from Gems. It's perfect for you.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do? My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
The Potting Shed Antiques in Whitesboro is buying silver, gold, gold-filled, vintage costume, estate jewelry, and U.S. and Canadian coins. They've been your hometown buyer for over 50 years. While other gold and silver buyers claim to offer the highest prices, the Potting Shed Antiques actually delivers. Let Don Hartman take a look at your individual pieces or your entire collection. The Potting Shed Antiques, open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Please call ahead for an appointment. Visit thepottingshedantiques.com.
Hey, it's your radio buddy Jimmy Fallon, host of Fox Across America. We're talking politics, pop culture, and comedy, minus all the rage and finger-pointing. It's real talk for real people who just want to laugh, think, maybe learn something along the way. So join the fun, weekdays at noon right here on WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, Central New York's home for talk that's smart, honest, and just the right amount of crazy. Fox Across America with your main man, Jimmy Fallon.
Celebrating 100 years. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, we're back. First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX. Some comments to read here. I'll begin on YouTube first. I got some criticism. Lance, of course, they read the comment from Lance. It's the only comment they read. Well, on YouTube, it's more of an ongoing discussion. Via the WIBX 950 mobile app, Lance was the only comment that I had there. Let me try to make sense of some of this discussion on the YouTube page.
It's like they're having their own radio show on YouTube.
Yes. Michael Galimi, maybe Galimi ran out of his family and friends that needed a job. Okay, so this is just going to be a bashing thing. All right, well, the conversation continues on YouTube. I have a comment from who else but Lance I want to get to as well as soon as my computer unfreezes here. And that's not going to happen anytime soon. All right, coming up in just a minute, we'll talk with the Syracuse Mets, Jack Gordon. He's the Director of Broadcast and Media Relations. No, don't call him yet. We still have to get that other break in, so hang on a sec. Well, I'm foiled here because I wanted to read the comments, but this is all frozen up now. All right, so let's take that quick break. When we come back, we'll talk Syracuse Mets. We'll wrap up the show with some comments. It's First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
Hurt in a car? Call William Attar. 315-444-4444.
Utica and the Mohawk Valley, do not overpay for your next mattress. Mattress Express is upstate New York's largest specialty bedding retailer. Take advantage of our guaranteed lowest price program. Bring in any locally advertised price or quote on a brand we carry. We will beat the price. Furthermore, if within 90 days of purchase you see that mattress advertised for less, bring it to our attention. We will refund the difference. Selection, no one in New York State has all these brands under one roof except Mattress Express. Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh & Lavish, Therapeutic, Simmons Beauty Rest Black, Serta, iComfort, Avocado, and more. On New Hartford and Commercial Drive next to Pet Supplies Plus. In Oneida and the Glenwood Plaza by the movie theaters. And Rome on Black River Boulevard. Open 7 days a week. Go to mattressexpressny.com. Call 1-800-NEW-BED.
Ready for your next adventure? Discover a whole new world beneath the surface with Seize the Day Scuba. Seize the Day Scuba makes it easy to become a certified scuba diver, even if you've never tried it before. Their experienced instructors guide you step by step with fun, safe, and professional training designed for beginners. Call Seize the Day Scuba in Yorkville today at 315-794-7787 or go to seizethedayscuba.net and start your scuba certification. Seize the Day Scuba. Don't just visit the ocean, explore it.
Start your savings at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair. Now through March 31st, get up to $180 back on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get $80 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Get an additional $100 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your Tallman's Tire CFNA credit card. Don't wait. These offers end March 31st. Visit Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer, or online at tallmanstire.com.
Hurt in a car? Call William Attar. 315-444-4444.
Join us for Come to the Table, a truly special fundraising evening happening Friday, April 17th from 5:30 to 9 p.m. at the beautiful Harts Hill Inn. Experience stunning, one-of-a-kind tablescapes designed by talented local artists, themed basket drawings, unique silent auction items, and a lively cocktail hour from 5:30 to 6:30. Enjoy exceptional food stations and desserts from Harts Hill Inn, all leading up to an exciting live auction hosted by MC Susan Nackley Mojave. For tickets and information, call 315-724-1718.
Celebrating 100 years. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, 8:45, First News Keeler in the morning, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM. Joining us on the phone now, Jack Gordon. He's the Director of Broadcast and Media Relations with the Syracuse Mets. Good morning, Jack. How are you?
I'm doing well. How's everything going back in the studio?
Pretty good. So I see you do some play-by-play for CBS Sports.
Yep.
You do some other baseball, Cape Cod League, and or you have done other baseball, Cape Cod League, the High A Fort Wayne Tin Caps. But
Yep.
I was surprised to see this, the Utica Blue Sox in 2022.
That's where it all began. That was kind of my first real opportunity to do play-by-play and to follow a baseball team for a season. That's where it all started. It was a ton of fun. Got some great reps. Met a lot of great people and had one heck of a summer. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Coming out of, well, I guess that was one of our breaks from COVID there. That must have been an interesting time. Was it just the one season you were there?
Yep, one season with Utica. So that was after after my sophomore year of college, and then the next summer after my junior year, I went to the Cape Cod Baseball League, like you mentioned. So definitely a fun experience. I live in the Syracuse area, so it would be about a 45-minute drive, nice and easy every day. Hang out in Utica, work the games, grab some good pizza, get some good Italian after the games. Obviously, you guys know how it is.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that was a great experience.
Yeah, graduate of Fayetteville Manlius High School in 2020 and graduated from Syracuse University Broadcast and Digital Journalism in 24. So, look, man, we're excited. I'm a Mets fan, the normal host.
Awesome.
Bill is a Mets fan. Our man Davey is a Yankees fan, but that's okay. We like to get out there and check out some of the Syracuse Mets games. I was surprised to see, I don't remember it being this way, but you guys start pretty much the same time as the pros. Your first game's Friday.
Yep. We're getting ready to roll. We open the season against Worcester out in Massachusetts on Friday, like you mentioned. So we're headed out there Thursday, just a few days away. And we play almost the same length of a season as well. It's 150 games, and we could even play in the playoffs, which would go later into September. So it's a full season. This is no joke. And we're gearing up soon. We needed to get a little bit warmer outside. It's good enough. The snow's melting, so we're going to be able to get ready and play. It's going to be a little bit chilly, but we're ready for baseball. I think the community's ready for baseball too. Watching the World Baseball Classic and spring training going on for a while, and especially Mets fans kind of following a wild off season, which ended up being pretty cool. So we're ready to roll.
Yeah, certainly a facelift for the team. You mentioned the World Baseball Classic. It was interesting to me. Look, it was extremely entertaining. A lot of the games were great. You had home runs getting robbed. You had some of the biggest stars on that stage. I was making this point last week. It was all this drama and all these one-game high-stress situations, and then in 2 weeks, you play game number 9 of 162, right? And it's a 4-game weekend series. It's a totally different pace once we get into baseball's regular season.
Yeah, for sure. It's you look at the World Baseball Classic, it's a sprint. You only have to win a handful of games. Your starters are only starting once or twice, and you're getting, just a handful of high leverage at bats. And what's so interesting is that those players are not geared up for a postseason atmosphere like that in March for most of their lives. Those were some of the most important at-bats or innings that those guys will play for their whole lives. And obviously, the Major League postseason is incredible, and those moments are kind of similar. But this is usually when they're in spring training and just gearing up and just worrying about, how does my swing feel? Or how does this pitch feel? When you're in the World Baseball Classic, the results actually matter, unlike spring training. So I'm sure it's different for them. And then you got to translate it back into the marathon of the baseball season, where you gotta make sure everything is okay on a day-to-day basis. Are you getting the right swings in? Are you working with your coaches every day? Are you recovering your body? So I'm sure it's a little different. I'm sure it's nice to have those high leverage at-bats in March, because then maybe you get those first jitters out, those first nerves are gone at the beginning of a baseball season. But that was just so fun to watch. I really loved it.
Look, it's all to celebrate the game of baseball, which is a great game, but it's the mini. It's like microdosing baseball is kind of what it is, I guess. But look, I think it was great. It was extremely entertaining, and I think it was great for the game. One of the starters, actually the starter in the championship game for the United States, of course, was Nolan McLean, who pitched 16, 18 games for the Syracuse Mets last year. Had a good year.
Yeah, so funny enough, he's got all the talent in the world, and was towards the top of the prospect rankings last year, but I don't know if anyone was expecting this. People might have known his name, but after, the World Baseball Classic and him getting to the major leagues last year, then everybody figured out who he was. But he started last year with AA Binghamton. He dominated. He came to us pretty early on in Syracuse, and he was just cruising. Every night he went out there was a show. I was always so excited on the days that he started, because it kind of felt like an ace was at the ballpark. He's going to give you 5, 6, 7 innings. He might give you 10 strikeouts that night. He's going to make guys look silly at the plate. So it was really fun to watch him and to see him get called up as well. From 1 year to start in AA, dominate AAA, go to the major leagues, and then truly become one of the best pitchers on the New York Mets. He's already slotted into the starting rotation for the upcoming seaon. It was really fun to see, and a great guy too. You know, for some of these players, it all happens so quickly. Going from college baseball, you get drafted, low levels of the minor leagues, and then somebody like Nolan McLean, boom! It's one stretch where you figure things out, it clicks, and you become the best version of yourself, and then all of a sudden you're pitching at Citi Field. You're pitching against the Dodgers, or you're pitching against Team Venezuela. You know, things happen really fast for Nolan, and I'm so happy that it's all worked out for him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, and I hope certainly as a Mets fan, hoping for the continued success at the big league level. As I look at the roster here for the Syracuse Mets, is this somewhat up to date? I mean, obviously we're still in spring training, but the point I'm trying to convey to the audience is, if you haven't been out there, you guys have not only the MLB stars of tomorrow, but you have some MLB stars who have been on pro rosters before, but maybe they're looking to get timing back, looking to get rhythm back. I see Mike Talkman on here. Did I see Craig Kimbrell is on the roster as well, a longtime power closer in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, roster in flux for sure, especially from towards the end of spring training to opening day. That's when a lot of the big decisions are being made by the Major League front office in who's going to make the Major League roster, who will they assign to AAA, who has to go on the injured list, and who of some of these older minor league players might take their chances elsewhere. Some of them have opt-out dates in their contracts. Mike Talkman, actually, it was reported yesterday that he is injured. Might see him later in the season, but won't see him towards the start of the year. But I'm super excited for this roster. We talked about Nolan McLean. He'll be with the big league team, but there were some other star pitchers on our team last year, and Jonah Tong, who's one of the top prospects in Major League Baseball. Ryan Clifford, first baseman who led the entire minor league system in homers and RBIs for the Mets last year. And Ronnie Mauricio, a guy who a lot of people may have seen play for the New York Mets over the past few years and be a top prospect in Syracuse. You're likely to see him again. So some familiar top prospect talent, some good veterans as well. So it's going to be an exciting group for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned Ryan Clifford, 29 dingers last year, 93 RBIs. That's a great year from him, and it's good to see that we might have some power at the first base position coming up after, obviously, the Mets parted ways with Pete Alonso at the end of last season. So before we let you go, let's see, you kick off on Friday. Your first home game is what, Tuesday of next week?
Yep, first home game Tuesday, 4:05 p.m. against Toledo. We'll have Toledo in town from Tuesday through Sunday. And we've got the 53-degree guarantee going on, which is really cool for fans that come to the games. If it's 53 degrees or under, if you take your ticket, you can redeem it for a free one at another game in April or May. Just to make sure, if you're coming to a game and it's a little chillier, well, we'll get you back at the ballpark another time when hopefully the weather's a little nicer and help you out a little bit.
Yeah, if you couldn't enjoy the atmosphere, you guys will say, "Hey, we'll make it up to you in the future." That's a great promotion you got. It's 53.
Even if it's chilly, you're going to have fun.
Yeah.
We're giving away the free hats and everything like that, so it'll be a lot of fun.
And then quickly, before we let you go, I remember this was a big thing we talked about here. There was a name change contest. Frankly, I think us in the studio here were against it. We loved the branding of Syracuse Mets. But whatever happened with this? There was a copyright issue? What was the deal?
Well, thankfully, since you're a fan of the Syracuse Mets, you're going to get the Syracuse Mets for a couple more years, including this season. So you got more Mets to be had. There were just some issues like copyright and some issues with the dates and things like that, in which we needed a name to be ready, a copyright overlap issue. So nothing too crazy, and we'll get it figured out for the future.
Was it ever announced what that name was or what was selected?
No.
Okay.
Sadly, it's still in the process, and we'll get it all figured out.
To be determined. All right. Well, for now, we're more than happy with Syracuse Mets. So, hey, listen, have a great year, Jack. We appreciate you taking some time, and we hope to catch up with you throughout the regular season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on. Go Mets.
Go Mets. That is Jack Gordon, the Director of Broadcast and Media Relations with the Syracuse Mets. Their season kicks off later this week as well. Friday night, they're on the road for 3. And then their home opener in Syracuse is coming up on Tuesday the 31st. And as he mentioned, they do some promotions where 53 or below, if you go to the game and it's 53 degrees or below, they'll actually give you a ticket for a future game. So we are out of time today. We appreciate you sticking around and joining us. We hope to have Bill back tomorrow, but even if we don't, we'll have a good time. It's First News Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
Don't rely on a standard off-the-shelf security system. When it comes to protecting your home, there's a big difference between plug and play and a professionally designed system. At CML Security, security is personal. Their skilled technicians meet with you one-on-one, walk your property, and design a custom system built around your family's needs. From security cameras, intrusion systems, and smart home features, they can also add a level of fire protection to their intrusion systems. They install commercial-grade equipment and provide a warranty on systems that they install. Call CML Security at 315-866-5845 today to schedule your in-home consultation. That's 315-866-5845 or visit cmlsecurity.net. Based in Herkimer, they serve the central New York area. CML Security. Call 315-866-5845. Personalized protection your family